Live from the 607, it's the Ocho Duro Parlay Hour, where we're talking sports locally and nationally. Join the conversation on our social media with the hashtag ODPH, because here we go.
Instead of looking deep inside, every word I have to say, keep it.
Welcome back for a holiday edition of the ODPH podcast, better known as the Ocho Duro Parlay Hour. I'm your host, Ken M. Joining me in studio, as always, as a co-host, it's Padawan J.
I realize it's the holiday season. Everyone's in a giving mood. Who decided to give the Cowboys an extra couple-hour layover in Philly after their stinker yesterday?
It's called karma, my friend, and it found them in a fun way.
Yes.
Also joining us in the studio as another co-host is your coach. It is my coach. It is the coach back from playing Flip Cup with Daniel and Eli. It's Coach Duffy.
Hey, there was a Saquon Barkley showing, more importantly.
I saw it.
Oh,
I was in shock.
I couldn't believe it. I mean, not to say that I was starting to think he was a bust, but there was a little bit of paranoia going through my head.
Well, he decided to show up when fantasy playoffs were all said and done.
Yeah,
so
right.
He didn't help anybody out, so thanks a lot for that. Better make up for it next season, otherwise you're cut. But let's get right into it, folks. Shall we waste no more time? We're going to be talking about the latest and greatest going on in the world of sports, so definitely hit us up, OchoDuroParlayHour.com. Join the conversation on our social media channels, and remember to use the hashtag ODPH. Locks and leaps. You know we kick off each episode with our recap of this past week's NFL action. Padawan J is taking that lead into the final week. So let us recap. Pad, kick us off with who you got.
Well, for my lock, I decided to take the Baltimore Ravens going up against the Cleveland Browns. I'm looking at it, Lamar Jackson's on a roll. Cleveland couldn't throw a ball into that lake they got over there if they were standing on a dock. In Baltimore ended up winning. Final score 31-15. Lamar Jackson 20 of 31 for 238 yards, 3 touchdowns, no interceptions. Baker Mayfield 20 of 33, 192 yards passing, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception.
Coach, your thoughts?
Oh, we shared this,
Yes.
Pat and I, on
Yes.
this lock. So, low-hanging fruit, basically. I mean, Baltimore, Cleveland right now. Yeah, I mean, as great as Baltimore has been, Cleveland, I would say, is more of a mess.
They're stinkers.
Yeah, so what else can you say about this Cleveland team? I mean, if Freddie Kitchens returns next year, that would be astonishing.
It'd be the most surprising move I can think of in recent NFL history.
I mean, I understand the notion that he is a first-time head coach and coming from a first time being a offensive coordinator last year, so literally, just right up the coaching tree, up the coaching line, up into being a head coach. So it's like, a whirlwind probably for him, probably very overwhelming. They probably would have been better off pairing him with maybe an experienced guy as far as a coordinator or defensive coordinator, somebody there that could have helped him, as far as just managing a team. But he is way over his head. He looks lost. The personalities that he has on this team is not helping him. When you get the volatility that is Odell Beckham Jr., when he can, and we saw it with the Giants, what he did. When he has a guy that he can walk all over, he will take advantage of that, and he will walk all over you. Like I said last week on the show, when he has a strong personality in front of him, he is the quietest player in the world. When he was at LSU, never heard a peep out of him. Never even hear his name. And he was a great player, but never heard any problems. Then Tom Coughlin, there was the injury bug that Tom Coughlin got annoyed with, but that's an old school mentality with a new school way. So, there's the agitation there. But then obviously with McAdoo, he, deer in headlights too. So Odell Beckham took completely advantage of him. And that's what's going on right now. So, I mean, next year, I don't know what you do. Now I've seen Urban Meyer has been attached to that job, which would be, that'd be wild if that happened. And then on the flip side of it, Baltimore, the riches go to the spoils. Caught Cleveland at a great time. The Baltimore's offense right now is clicking on all cylinders. Even when Cleveland was up in this game and Baltimore's offense was fluttering, they made the adjustments. They came out in the second quarter and put, a couple quick touchdowns on them and opened the game wide open.
The one thing you got to take away from this is Freddie Kitchens needs to go.
Yeah,
period.
absolutely.
This is the prime example of why he does not deserve a second chance to come back.
He can't.
He can't.
Because it'd be one of those things where, like, okay, first time head coach, first job. If it was like maybe like a little closer to finishing 8-8, you're like, all right. But like, and you look at some of their games, it'd be like, okay, if there were close losses, just one or two bad drives, it really cost them. It'd be one thing. But like, you look at some of their games, they're not really close losses. When they lose ugly. I mean, week 1 they lost 43-13 to Tennessee. New England 27-13. A couple weeks ago or last week against Arizona, 38-24 loss. Like, it's not like, oh darn, you had a missed field goal, you had a drop, third down conversion that really would have won you the game. No, it's just you're getting beaten ugly.
Well, he's getting beaten ugly, but he's also making the body language that makes it well known he is completely lost out there. He's even getting caught on camera saying, I don't know what I'm doing. And then the prime example, he got into it with Odell Beckham Jr. on the sidelines.
Yeah.
And you lose that argument on television where it is caught on film. Mm-hmm. You're done.
Well, I mean, it's just when you look at when we did our preseason preview and we looked at all the talent that they had from top to bottom. Yeah, they traded their best guard to, their right guard to the Giants in that trade for Vernon and Beckham. Whatever, that can be replaced.
Sure.
So the biggest question going into the year was the offensive line. Skill players out the wazoo. I mean, wide receiver stacked, Landry,
Russian.
Beckham, wide receiver stacked. So you're sitting here and you're talking about a team that on paper offensively should have been firing on all cylinders, especially given the fact that last year the offense was probably their strongest thing to end the year. So you would have thought that this year they would have came in, Kitchens now after being the after the way that they finished and the relationship that he developed with Baker, you would have thought that they would have been firing on all cylinders. They would have been on the same page. In comes Beckham. Let's bring him in the fold. Landry goes to the other side. Beckham goes on the primary side. And now, boom, you just plug and play. And Kareem Hunt and Chubbs, who's having a tremendous year.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, insane. I mean, obviously he developed a ton as the year went on last year, but I mean, this year he should have been the primary ball handler. I mean, he should have been getting the ball more. And there's times, just like in Dallas, where they forget about him, and then they that's when they really start to lose in games. So, yeah, it's a thing of like a man clearly over his head, overwhelmed, and no ability to salvage anything.
And on paper, you look at it, and out in the NFC, you've got San Francisco and New Orleans, fighting it out to the very last week for that number 1 seed in the NFC conference. And on paper, you look at Baltimore and you look at Cleveland, and you would think that, okay, that would be the same just in the AFC. But it's so hilariously not the case.
No, it definitely is the case of like two sides of a coin.
Yeah.
Because on paper at the preseason, with the amount of skill players that Cleveland has.
And Cleveland came out at 3-1 after the preseason.
And defensively, too, they have skill players, too.
Exactly. I mean, take away the situation from Myles Garrett, they are still loaded on the defensive side of the ball.
Yeah.
The problem is they have no discipline and culture set up there.
Oh.
And the inmates are running the asylum. And Freddie Kitchens it's like that meme that when the house is on fire and somebody's going, oh, everything is fine.
Yeah.
That is that meme
to
the letter. And if John Dorsey is going to still have his job as GM, he needs to cut ties with Kitchens. It's the problem that you have with like a Rex Ryan type. When you have a player or a coach that is so player-friendly and is more concerned about making them happy instead of running the team, you're not going to get anywhere. And teams were figuring out Baker Mayfield, but he bought into his own hype, as it's apparently shown.
I don't think it's so much, he's a player's coach. I just think he is a man, literally like McAdoo. I mean, it's the same thing. I've watched it. I've seen this. I've seen it every Sunday. It's the same thing. It's a man who is clearly overwhelmed by the situation, who has no idea what he is doing, and by having no idea what he's doing, the players are able to take advantage of him. And it's not that I don't think he wants to be that. He just can't literally help it. Like Belichick walks in a room, he demands the room and the audience.
Yeah.
Like that is a man walking in that room. When you see and you watch, Andy Reid shuffle into a room, he's demanding the room. Like those kind of Harbaugh. When he walks in.
Oh yeah, no,
they're respecting him. If I was in the room and I saw Freddie Kitchens walk in, I would think that I was getting ready for a stand-up show.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, exactly. He's wearing a shirt to give the other team bulletin board material.
Yeah,
that's
which
prime
is just-
example. Like, I understand you want to support your guys, but that is not the way to do it as the face of your team.
Right.
Well, and to your point, they absolutely have no leaders on the field. They might have, quote unquote captains that go to midfield for the, the coin toss or whatever. But when it comes to huddle situations, sideline situations, crunch time situations, there is nobody on that side, offense, defense, or special teams stepping up. The example I can think of, a couple of years ago when Gerard Mayo was still playing and he was a linebacker with the Patriots, went down with an injury. He was the captain. He had the headset, mic piece, whatever it is, in the helmet, making play calls, doing this, doing that. Went down with an injury. It was like with the Yankees, next man up. Then Dante Hightower stepped up and was leading that defense and was captain in that defense. He missed a few weeks, and it was somebody like a Devin McCourty. There's always somebody, with these great teams that, leader goes down, somebody else steps up to fill that role. Who's stepping up in these offensive or defensive huddles for Cleveland?
Well, you would have thought, this team needs Joe Thomas.
Yeah.
This is the guy that, the former left tackle of Cleveland, that's a guy that if they still had him in the locker room, none of this shit would be going on.
Exactly.
None of this. The helmet slam, everything, he would have been pulling dudes aside and ripping them a new ass.
They would have been up by the scruff of their neck, up against the locker. What are you doing?
Yeah, and I think the problem is that the quote-unquote leadership that they have, Baker's obviously captain. I think, probably another wide receiver. I don't even know. I mean, it doesn't matter.
I think Landry is.
Yeah, but when you look at the fact that, you talk about Baker being the face of the franchise as the starting quarterback, he should be the one that's demanding the locker room. And he's not, because he's giving in to the voice, not giving in the voices, but you can see by that press conference when he, was... basically attacking the media, that just shows there's outside presence that's chirping in his ear that he's starting to listen to a little bit.
Well, that's the thing. When you buy into your own hype, and they did, which I don't blame them at the beginning of the season. If you're kind of feeling a little extra confident, you got all these offensive weapons, you're seeming like your culture is finally changing. You want to buy into that, sure. But when reality sets in, and if it hasn't, take a look in the mirror, because you're 6-9. And
right.
You're going to be outside looking in yet again. So Cleveland really needs to sit back this offseason and make some changes. Got to start with the heads down. Because if they look across to Baltimore and the culture they have set up there, Lamar Jackson is your MVP. No question about it.
No question.
They've locked up the number 1 seed.
They're sitting guys. They're not even worried about it.
They're not worried. Mark Ingram, he's sitting this week. He's not even going to be suiting up.
Lamar's sitting.
Yeah, everybody's going to be sitting.
Yeah.
And it doesn't matter. They can yell big trust on the sidelines all they want.
Yeah, they don't. Yeah, they ain't got to worry about nothing.
Since we didn't know, I decided to look it up. The Cleveland Browns captains were Baker Mayfield, linebacker Christian Kirksey, who was on IR, and long snapper Charlie Huglet.
So enough said.
Yeah.
Cleveland, you need work. Baltimore is setting the precedent, so make sure to follow it. And it was a great win for Baltimore, continuing the ball rolling. Another team that needed to do that was the Philadelphia Eagles, which was Pad's leap as well as mine.
Yep.
So, Pad, break that down for us.
How about them Cowboys?
How about them Cowboys?
How about Stephen A. Smith on First Take this morning?
Oh, my God. Out of control.
Must-see TV. Yes. So in a must-win situation, the Dallas Cowboys went into Philly, had to win. Division was on the line, could not come up with the win. Philly came out winning by the final score of 17-9. Carson Wentz, 31 of 40 for 319 yards passing, 1 touchdown, no interceptions. Dak Prescott, 25 of 44 for 265 yards passing, no touchdowns, no interceptions.
Coach?
Yeah, so I got really a couple things. Philly plays better. Carson Wentz plays better without his starting wide receivers. This is now back-to-back tremendous wins with Aguilar, Jeffries on the sidelines watching, unable to play, and he's playing great. And then on the flip side of that, the Cowboys and Dak Prescott. I don't know what they're doing again. I don't get it. I don't understand.
Think they know.
13 carries for Ezekiel Elliott. Obviously, the Philadelphia run defense is pretty good.
Yeah.
So, it's not necessarily where you want to attack. So, I can understand maybe not getting Zeke as many touches as I've complained about before. But my biggest gripe that I have with this game was on that 4th and 8 call within the 24, 25-yard line. They go for it for a touchdown. With 1:07 left in the game, you still have 3 timeouts. Why not just get the first down? All you need to do is, all right, run, 15-yard patterns. You're still, within time frame of getting to the ball and snapping it in within 5 to 10 seconds. Why go for it on a 4th and 8? That play call in itself made no sense. Dak Prescott going for it all on that play call also made no sense. To me, it's like that is a decision where you got to pull, that's where you almost want to call timeout and say, no, I don't like this play. We got to reassess this as a head coach, So, obviously Kellen Moore, play caller, this is where, your head coach has got to step in. You got to say, whoa. Jason Garrett's got to say, hey, it's 4th and 8. Why are we running a go route on a 4th and 8? Let's get this freaking first down and then worry about punching this in.
Yeah, the play calling for Dallas just makes absolutely no sense. It's almost like when you're watching a TV show or a movie and your main character's got to get into a door or a locked room. And he goes up there, he goes in front of a computer, and he goes, I have no idea what to do, and he just starts hitting everything. It feels like the same way with the play calling for Dallas, where they have no idea what to do, and they're just like flipping through the playbook going, let's try this.
Dallas is so polarizing that you don't know what team you're going to see each week. And it's a shame because they have the best offensive line in the league, arguably the best running back in the league, and yet you still can't find a way to put points on the board.
Yeah, and you got Amari Cooper.
They have weapons. They should be putting up a lot more points. And if it's on Jason Garrett, then Garrett's got to go. Just this inconsistency when these are crucial games they need to win. And it's either him or Kellen Moore. I don't know who is calling the plays, but they have to realize this is not a video game.
Yeah.
You can't hit reset.
You can't adjust the settings or change the sliders to make it easy for you.
Exactly.
I literally, when I saw that route, I was watching it with with my wife, and I screamed out loud, "Why would you run that route on 4th and 8?" Because when I first saw it and it happened, I was like, all right, I thought it was 3rd and 8. Like, I just lost track of the downs, and I was like, all right, going for it. I appreciate that. But then when I saw it was 4th and 8 and the ball turnover, I'm not even a Dallas fan. I'm sitting here like, what the hell?
Yeah.
What are you doing?
Yeah.
And then when then of course the booth review, and I was
atrocious,
laughing. I was like, come on, if the Saints getting or the Houston Texan one where he literally got tackled in the end zone wasn't called, the Hopkins one, then this is definitely I was just like thinking, if this is called pass interference and the Hopkins one wasn't, where he was literally tackled in the end zone, then this shit is rigged, because that would have been the most asinine call I've ever seen in my life.
It just goes to show how the season is.
It wasn't called pass interference, which it wasn't. It was. Yeah. Both guys were locked arms. You could see that Gallup was, holding on a little bit, and so the refs let it play, and that's the right call.
It's the right call, but like I say, it just kind of sums up how the NFC East is. That it's so
bad.
Oh,
God.
Excuse me. It's so bad.
It's so bad.
Stuff like this happens, and we should be really flipped out and really amped up, but it's like,
it's surprising because it's a division full of history and tradition and long-time rivalries and just the lineage, with the Cowboys and the Giants and the great Eagles teams and all this. But you're sitting there and your division winner is going to be going in with maybe one win above 500 if they're lucky.
If that.
It's just so mesmerizing to see how the fall from grace has happened. Because with Dallas, you should be doing better.
Dallas should definitely be 10-6.
Yeah, Garrett's as good as gone. I think Jones would do it, but we all know how much he likes to control the narrative and kind of the media stories with it when it comes to his team, and he wants folks talking about what he wants them to talk about, and he doesn't want the mess that would be firing Garrett with one game left.
Well, they still control their destiny, and they're still a team that I wouldn't want to see in the playoffs.
No, because anything could happen once they're in the playoffs. That's the thing, that maybe somehow, some way, they realize, let's give Zeke the ball
again, and let's see what happens. Yeah. Last week they gave Zeke the ball.
Yeah,
they won the game handily.
Yeah, exactly.
Then you have this game and you don't, and you lose handily. So I just think the biggest thing is too is as an NFC East guy, these Eagles fans, just calm down. You're 8-7. The division is gross, and you are sitting here on your mountaintop. You are calling out everybody. Let's sell. No, this is nothing to celebrate. You still have to go into New York, who just played very well in Washington and played you 2 weeks ago very well with Eli at the helm. Again, now in New York with them playing inspired football, I would be more worried about that than I would be about anything else, because if Dallas wins, you're toast.
Yeah.
So you have literally, Dallas is playing with house money.
Yeah.
Because if Philly loses and Dallas loses, Dallas is still in. So you guys sitting here bumping your chests and parading around, not so fast, my friend.
Exactly.
It's almost like the football gods knew this was going to happen, because I'm looking at the schedule. Like Coach said, Philly's playing the Giants on Sunday. Game time?
I don't know. 1:00.
4:25.
Oh, it is 4:25?
Dallas is playing Washington on Sunday. 4:25.
Oh, I said that would be awesome. I told my wife, there would be 2 scenarios that would be sick. I said if Philly played at 1 and then Dallas played at 4, which is normally what happens. The Giants always play at 1. Dallas is always at 4 because Fox. Then I was like, that would be awesome, because if Philly wins, now the pressure and all the eyes will be on Dallas in the Washington game.
Yeah.
And then I was like, or the other cool scenario would be if the games are on at 4 up against each other.
Yeah, that's what they are.
Scoreboard watching,
Sports bars are going to be a little busy this Sunday.
Yeah, so I don't know, that sucks though, because now us in New York won't get the Washington Cowboys game unless maybe for some reason the NFL does something special and they bump it to CBS.
Maybe.
Something could happen there, but it's going to be really fun football to watch.
Oh, man. I love what they do with the scheduling. I know this is a complete sidebar, but I love the fact that you play division rivals, pretty much from week 15 on. Mm-hmm. That is awesome. I mean, yeah, all right, started out early. That's great. The Giants always play the Cowboys week 1, and, normally they play Philly week 4 or 5, and then Washington somewhere in there. But my God, when you get to week 16 and 17, besides that year that they played New England, week 17, this is who I want to play, week 17.
I think they did that before they instituted, they all play divisional teams the final week of the season.
Oh, okay. So that is actually a rule. I didn't know that was a rule.
Well, I don't think it's necessarily a rule, but I think it's just something that
unwritten.
Yeah,
yeah, a little
because they got tired of having so many games at the end of the season.
Oh, right. That didn't matter.
That was at the end of the season where it's and no offense to anybody who are fans of these teams, that it was like a Detroit and a Jacksonville, where it's okay, there's no implications on this for playoffs. It doesn't really matter for anything.
Somebody better go call Baltimore, because they don't give a shit.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, it's going to be just some fun football, and especially division rival games. You can't beat it. So, obviously, Dallas has their fate in their hands, and Philly, for all the chest bumping you've been doing all week.
Yeah.
All week. All I've seen. You
had better show up on Sunday.
Oh, these people that are the first people that run Carson Wentz out of town. Oh, we should have kept Nick Foles. Oh, Philly sucks. Oh. And now these people are like, oh, Carson Wentz is my quarterback. I love him. He's the greatest quarterback of all time.
Philly is a rabid fan base, and there's
all right, I'm a New York guy, but Philly fans are a joke. I know that I have my animosity towards Daniel Jones, but it's only because of these morons who sit here and bash Eli just for the namesake of doing it, because it's cool. I got 2 Super Bowls off of Eli, so thank you for your service. Enjoy retirement. I'm glad you went out 500. You know what I'm saying? But you guys sitting here ripping him apart, it's ignorant. All right, great. Daniel Jones played well against Washington. Clap, round of applause. 352 yards, 5 touchdowns, no interceptions. Wow, tremendous performance. Washington, folks. The Redskins.
Yeah, enough said.
Whatever. Okay. Saquon Barkley was literally walking through holes. It was so wide open. And the offensive line for the Giants, last time I checked, still sucks.
And this team is going to be the one that shows up against Philly on Sunday, so who knows what's going to happen.
I'm telling you what, I like the chances in them G-men. I also, Washington with Haskins, not playing bad.
Not playing bad.
No. Not playing bad. Not great, but not playing terrible.
Serviceable.
He went down in the second half, and Casey Keenum came in and played very well in spot relief. But in that first half, it was literally Giants march down the field 7-0. Washington come race back down the other side 7-7. Giants score 14. Washington 14. Boom, boom, boom. And then finally they got 2 stopped back-to-back punts, and I was like, then the Giants scored to go up 28-14. I was like, all right, now we've opened this game up. But then Washington comes right back the third quarter and puts it 28-21. But then the Giants went 35-21 and then pretty much just held on.
Yeah.
Until it went to overtime and then,
It's power flip
Saquon
cup.
Barkley. Yeah, hey, team bonding, man. Unity. But the problem is they just got Schumer an extension or another year because they're not going to fire him now.
We'll have to see.
He had one job this year. Cultivate Daniel Jones and make him a prospect. That was his job. That was his assigned duty. You can't be mad at a guy throwing 352 with 5 touchdowns.
No.
You can't fire a guy who just had his quarterback play like that.
I don't know if they can do it in Miami. Fitzpatrick did it.
Listen, that is that is not a rookie.
Speaking of that AFC East, we will go to Coach's Leap. And dare I say, one of the best games of the weekend, and I'm not trying to say this as a homer, but I'm saying the Bills-Patriots game was a lot better, albeit, though, did not end up the way the coach and I were leaning. Pad, you got the score?
Yeah, so the New England Patriots ended up defeating the Buffalo Bills by the final score of 24-17. Tom Brady, 26 of 33 for 271 yards passing, 1 touchdown, no interceptions. Josh Allen, 13 of 26 for 208 yards passing, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions.
Coach?
I feel like I owe you an apology.
No, you don't.
No, I do because so the NFL Network was not working on my Apple TV for whatever various reasons. So I had to watch the game on my phone. And, when you watch games on phones, you kind of get a little distracted because you're like, oh, Twitter, oh, Facebook, oh, and a game, So I would come back and forth to the game. Every time I checked back, Buffalo would be doing well. And then I would check back in, and then Buffalo wouldn't do well. And then I would leave, and then Buffalo would do well again, and then I'd come back to it, and then they'd stop doing well. And then, ultimately the last drive, I go, I'm not a jinx. I don't believe in this. I'm 30-plus years old. Jinx aren't a real thing. Superstition, silly nonsense. I'm going to watch the game. I'm sorry. I watched the last drive.
I don't.
Specifically, I watched 2 plays, the 3rd down and the 4th down. So... yeah. Again, I'm sorry.
Well, I take your apology, but I'm not charging with it because my takeaways from this, and I definitely want to get Pad's opinion, obviously, he being the Patriots fan in the room. The Bills played well. They didn't close, and they struggled in the 4th quarter.
Young teams
do
that.
Yeah, which I fully had the feeling they were going to do. I love the fact, though, that they closed out the first half strong with a touchdown drive to Dawkins, which nobody saw coming.
Right.
And that was a Patriot move if I've seen one. To see, though, the second half, and I'm not going to harp too much about the Edelman fake injury nonsense that's breaking, he's fake.
Everybody does it.
Yeah,
or the face mask.
Yeah, or the blown call that was the face, because referees miss calls all the time.
Yeah.
I'm going to just stick to the point that, one, John Brown did burn Stephen Gilmore.
Yeah.
For a very good touchdown, and I was super excited since Gilmore defected from us to New England. And the second half was all Patriots run game that the Bills struggled against. That down in the crunch time, Burkhead really was pushing the yards. Sony Michel had a great run to really open up the field on him. That the Patriots did what the Patriots do. They wore down the Bills. And the Bills were hanging in there, albeit though a couple bad penalties. But you can't take away the fact that the Patriots still are going to scrap no matter what the score is. Brady is going to be Brady. And obviously getting that touchdown, the Bills were coming back down the field. A couple inaccurate passes from Josh Allen did not help matters. I mean, the one that went right by Knox, it was like 1 foot closer.
Yeah.
Would have been that touchdown. But, Coach...
Story of Buffalo's life, though.
Exactly. but it's a young team. At least it didn't go wide right.
Yeah, for real.
I can say that, dang it.
I thought about saying it, but I didn't want to go there.
No, because
or at least the wide receiver didn't have to crawl back through the end zone to catch the ball.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But for Buffalo, though, this was a good litmus test because even though they did lose to the Patriots, they did hang tough.
Yeah.
They did lose to Baltimore. They hung tough against the best team in the league. For a young team that is still trying to find their way and really get their identity to learn how to close games, this is a good learning experience going into the playoffs. And that's where I take it.
For real, yeah. I mean, you can't...
Yeah.
I don't... when the Giants lost that game to the Patriots in 07. I was like, oh, bummer, they go undefeated, whatever. But the whole time I was like, wow, they played them super tough. I mean, they were blow for blow.
Yeah.
Like, this is awesome. I didn't think that it was going to turn into what it turned into, all of a sudden on the road every single game and this magical run. So, like, if I'm a Buffalo fan, like, I take the fact that we were in 2 games against New England, both, the first one especially ugly offensively.
Yeah.
Then this game a little bit better, and only lost by a total of what, like 13, 14 points?
This one was 7, yeah.
Yeah, 7. What was the last one?
Last one, I think, was right around that.
It was right.
It was like
13.
6 or
because
so you
Josh
lost,
got taken out.
So you lost the total of both games by 13 points.
Yeah.
6.
Yeah, so 13. So you've literally been in both games within striking distance. I mean, my God, it was a 4th and 9 that you could have easily, or 4th and goal, right?
Yeah.
That, I mean, one catch and then it's a touchdown. And the hardest thing to do in football is probably score on New England on the goal line
at
when you're not. Yeah, at Foxborough when you're not on the actual goal line.
It's Brady and Belichick in December where they've got like single digit losses, and then it's also the wild stat I saw was rookie or second year quarterbacks going into New England in December have like 1 win, if not 0.
And you're in the playoffs.
Yeah.
You're already in. So all these are just pieces for momentum. You're just literally rolling downhill right now, building up steam. So, I mean, if I'm Buffalo, I'm taking this as, stride and saying, hey, we're right there. We're right there. And if I'm New England, I'm just happy with a win because they had looked like trash 2 weeks in a row.
I'm happy with a win, and I'm also happy that, we finally had a decent run defense where it wasn't like the ball's getting run down our throats for 60 minutes.
Yeah. No, you have to be happy about that.
Well, I mean, my God, the last 2 weeks New England's looked terrible. I mean, that Kansas City game and then the Houston game. I mean, it was the panic button was out. I mean, the key was in the case, and it was turned, and the case was lifted, and the finger was like right there. But then this win, I think, probably solidifies, a little bit of comfort. My biggest thing is, I don't think that this team in particular is going to be a good playoff road team. I just don't think. I think they needed home field advantage. To make it to the Super Bowl. And I mean, they're the 2 seed, right?
Yes.
So they would potentially play. I mean,
Baltimore.
Well, not in the second round. I'm saying
second round. They would probably get the winner of Houston and Buffalo.
So, I mean, the hardest thing to do in sports is be a team 3 times.
Yeah. So Buffalo, obviously,
and Buffalo already feels comfortable playing there. So it's not like they're not afraid to go into New England.
That's the point. Yeah, they're not afraid to go in there, and they're looking good, but they just have to make some changes on offense. Not drastic, nothing super crazy, but the fact that they still were putting up points, they still were taking shots, they were keeping the offense pretty well balanced, albeit though I wish they were kind of giving Singletary the ball a little more, but I can live with that for the week. And like I say, Patriots now clinched the number 2 seed. The Bills are locked in for number 5. It looks like they're going to play Houston, which I'm more happy with because if they had to go to Arrowhead, I was not liking that, especially after the beatdown they gave Chicago on Sunday night. Pad, you got the score on that.
My lord, to quote The Rock, this was an absolute smackdown. The Kansas City Chiefs thrashed the Chicago Bears by the final score of 26-3. Patrick Mahomes, 23 of 33 for 251 yards passing, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions. Mitchell Trubisky, 18 of 34 for 157 yards, no touchdowns, no interceptions.
Coach.
Did you guys know that the Bears had a chance to draft Patrick Mahomes?
Yes.
I did not.
Did you know that they had a chance to draft Patrick Mahomes?
No.
And the petty gesture. Oh my God, I was marking out for that.
I don't even know really what to say about Chicago.
They're bad.
They're offensively just
bad.
And I don't think it's just Trubinsky. I think the problem is it's a little bit of play calling. I think it's the lack of talent in the backfield because, I mean, honestly, their running backs don't strike fear in me. They, Cohen and Montgomery, they're not used right, so I don't worry about that.
Cohen, 2 carries for 8 yards.
Yeah, and I mean, for as hyped as Cohen was going into the year, he's been a dud.
I was saying also, you look at the receiving core. Okay, yeah, they got Allen Robinson, who's a decent receiver.
Yeah.
But it goes to like you've seen with a lot of teams over the years. Okay, you got one good receiver. You're going to double that guy and try and have your other receivers try and beat you. And let's be honest, I'm looking at the other top 3 receivers: Javon Wims, Tarek Cohen, and then Jesper Horsted. Are any of those names striking fear into you?
Who? Well, I'll say I really liked what Chris Collinsworth had said on the broadcast about the fact that, when they were reminding us that the Bears had a chance to draft Patrick Mahomes, that Matt Nagy came from Kansas City. Mm-hmm. So he's running a similar system. So the biggest thing and the biggest X factor that what Kansas City has that Chicago doesn't, besides Patrick Mahomes, who could have been drafted by the Chicago Bears, is the fact that they have Travis Kelce.
Yeah. And
they have the weapons on the outside. Obviously, Tyreek Hill is a dynamic player, arguably probably a once-in-a-lifetime type talent. Mm-hmm. So that on the outside plus Kelce. But when you think about it, if the Bears could get a more elite tight end, which is rare, like I'm not saying that they're going to find a Travis Kelce, because there's
but
few
if they
and
could
far
get an
between.
Upgrade of what they
but
got,
if they could get an upgrade from what they've got, then I would think that when you pair him with Allen Robinson, they'd be in a much better position. Like, obviously, like, and I mean, it's tough because, like, I like to think that Evan Ingram is an elite tight end, but when I look at what George Kittle and what Travis Kelce do and what Gronk did, was they could block.
Yeah.
And they could block dynamically. I saw plays where, I mean, Kittle was taking on last week was taking on the Rams defensive end or AJ Hawk multiple times. Mm-hmm. And, they went toe-to-toe, and, Hawk won his and Kittle won his, but he's in there pass blocking as a tight end. And Travis Kelce, I saw a couple times take on Mack. So, I mean, you're talking about a guy taking on arguably the best defender in all of the NFL.
Yeah.
And as a tight end, who's not even, they get taught how to pass block, but that's not what they do. Like, they run block and they run routes, Yeah. So, you talk about that type of talent that Kansas City has that Chicago doesn't. I think that hurts. And, yeah, I mean, Patrick Mahomes is what he is. I mean, he's a cheat code on the field in real life. Mm-hmm. I mean, at one point, there was a play where Mack was in his face, literally all but about to sack Patrick Mahomes, and he just dumps the ball out to the flat where his safety release was for the running back, I think was West at the time, caught it and got a 12-yard gain out of nothing. And Patrick Mahomes wasn't even looking where he threw the ball. He just knew where he was. And the sidearm throw that's on Instagram right now, where he literally
that's ridiculous.
Is literally bending his arm to throw it around the defender. The guy does things that elite players, I mean, even Brady, for as amazing as he was, cannot do.
No.
So how do you defend that? And how do you sit there and say, all right, the Bears have the chance to draft him, but they took Trubinsky? Like, you don't know that that's what's going to come of this.
No.
Kansas City, sure, traded up to get him at 12, but they loved the skill set they had. They didn't, like, if you mean to tell me that they knew what they were getting when they drafted him at 12, I would slap you in the face. Because there's no way they knew that.
I also think if everything stays the same, just in this hypothetical scenario, we're swapping Patrick Mahomes for Mitchell Trubisky. I think as good as Patrick Mahomes is, there's no way in hell he could make this Bears team any good.
Exactly, and that's exactly the point, because they don't have the same skill set and wide receivers as they do at Kansas City currently. And not to mention, you still have, for as bad as Andy Reid is under 2 minutes, he's outside of the 2-minute drill, he's one of the most elite coaches you can have in all of the NFL.
Yeah.
So you pair that with him versus Trubinsky, who is now on year 3.
Yep.
I believe
with
so.
2 head coaches now in his career. Mm-hmm. That's the hardest thing you can do you ask a young quarterback to do. Ask Alex Smith what threw his career off track was having 5 offensive coordinators in 5 years.
I think the only one as bad, if not maybe worse, was Jason Campbell with the Redskins.
Yeah, I mean,
he had it just as bad.
You can't just bring in a revolving door of coaches and expect a young quarterback to be able to learn a system, take in the knowledge, be able to understand and read defenses, and then regurgitate what the coaches need him to regurgitate as far as adjustments, audibles, and pass protecting.
Yeah.
That is not fair.
I mean, I've said it before. I'll say it again. I think Mitchell Trubisky can be decent. You just got to give him something. You got Allen Robinson. So if he's going to be your downfield guy, your run a streak guy, you got to have a guy in there who can run the short stuff, run the middle stuff. That, okay, Robinson isn't open. We got this other guy, because right now I get the feeling Allen Robinson is getting double teamed, and none of these other guys are able to make another catch. I mean, their second leading pass catcher was, like I said, was Javon Wims. 3 catches, he got targeted 9 times.
Well, that's why I say the Bears need some spark on offense. Trubisky needs to get out of there, unless they get a revolving door of more talented players on that offensive side, and they're not going to do it. And if everybody wants to criticize about Mahomes getting drafted at 10, well, fun little fact, who did Kansas City trade to get up that high? Oh, that's right, they traded with the Bills, because the Bills could have had him too.
But the Browns also, I mean, the Bears could have also.
I mean, that's
if you didn't know that.
Well, that's the thing.
That's also like saying 31 other teams could have had Tom Brady.
Thank you. And how many other teams could have had Lamar Jackson? You don't know.
Yeah.
All you know is the tape that you see of these kids when they come out of college.
Right.
Yeah.
And the only thing everybody knew about Mahomes is he had a cannon for an arm. That was it. How many bowl games did he win in Texas Tech?
I mean, not many, because Texas Tech was bad those years.
Right. So that being said, how do you know? You don't. All you know is, okay, does the arm fit the system? And you roll the dice from there.
Yeah.
Trubisky came in, and everybody was so hyped up because he had the physical intangibles that all these pro systems love looking for.
Right.
It's the Sam Darnold affair.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
It sounds like you're talking about Daniel Jones right now.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
But that's the thing, that all these teams, everybody...
He's got that NFL body. He's got that NFL...
I like this guy.
He's NFL ready.
Yeah, like what the hell does that mean? Nothing. You know what? They look the part. But can they get on the field? Because you know what? Everybody used to say that about Ryan Leaf way back when. And hey,
Jamarcus
look what
Russell.
happened. Thank you. The list goes on and on. J.P. Lossman. The list goes on and on and on.
My problem is I don't think Trubinsky is bad. I think that what they give around him is difficult to be successful
Yes.
with. I mean, you could plug outside of, like, again, a Tom Brady or, another one of those elite quarterbacks, you plug him into Chicago, and I don't think they're doing as well.
No.
I mean, you could put Montana back there, and I still don't think that he's going to make, these guys successful. So when you talk about the fact that you're all right, you're gonna go out there and you're gonna have Allen Robinson, and then you're gonna have plug and play, go from there. You can't. What else can you want him to do? I mean, at least Sam Darnold, for as much as he got ripped on this year, still has somewhat decent talent at wide receiver with Crowder and Robinson, who have played better as the year, or Robinson.
Darnold's got some pieces he can use,
Anderson.
and the Jets have parts they can play with. They just might need to tweak or retool a few things.
Yeah,
but
I mean,
they've got a little more upside than I think Chicago has.
Look
right
at the years that after when Calvin Johnson retired in Detroit, and Matt Stafford had nothing as far as weapons.
Yeah,
you cannot ask a quarterback to be successful without giving him something to play with. That is why Dallas went out and traded a first-round pick for Amari Cooper. Mm-hmm. That is why Houston went out and traded for Denver for a second-round pick for Demaryius Thomas, because you need to give skill set players to these quarterbacks if you want them to be successful.
That's why New Orleans ponied up for Michael Thomas.
Exactly. Yeah. That is why that's why San Francisco went and got Emmanuel Sanders, because they knew they needed a guy on the outside to help Kittle get open in the middle. Mm-hmm. These are just things. These are truths. These are absolutes in the NFL. And when you sacrifice offensive skill set to build a defense, and you put all your money on that side of the ball, you end up with Carolina and Chicago.
Yeah. It's the easiest way to say that Chicago just needs work. Kansas City had put in the work, and they got the players to get them to the playoffs. I mean, it was a stat quo game just for how disappointing Chicago was this season.
Yeah, I mean, as a Chicago fan, you watch this game and you just say more of the same.
Yeah.
That double doink, though.
Yeah. I didn't even want to go there. I was trying to get in the Christmas spirit. But, hey, that's how the ball kicks in sometimes in the NFL. So
That's how the ball kicks.
That's how the ball kicks.
Sails.
Exactly.
I will say, though, one thing about the NBC broadcast that I love.
Sure.
I love the field goal stat that they show, where they show the projected of what it would be good from, the ball speed and the trajectory and the flight path.
Yeah.
I love that stat. That is a nerdy stat to love, and I don't give a shit, but I love it because I just love to think all right, they line up for a 46-yarder, and they always, kick those ones a little more flatter just to make sure it cuts through the air. But then, you see, that would have been good from 56, and you're like, all right, my kicker can't kick those, you know?
I think the only thing close to it in sports, and I can't speak for hockey, but I know with baseball, when it comes to the home run derby.
Yeah, the
home run
projected landing.
Well, you got the home run derby where, okay, they got the launch angle and the velocity and the distance. But then with the home run derby, ESPN tweaks in this other one where it was like, okay, what would it have gone if there was nothing to stop it? And
that's cool. That's cool. I like that stat. Like, that's because then you like in the situation with the Giants yesterday when it was like the fourth at the end of the game and Rosas was originally walking out to kick a 63-footer, and I was like, "What are you smoking? He can't kick that." You know, like it would have been fun maybe to see because earlier he had missed a 43-yarder. Like maybe it would have been fun to see. Like, all right, where would that 43-yarder have been good from?
Yeah,
you know, something fun.
Yeah,
NBC, good job.
Hey, it's a nice way to wrap up the weekend, though, because I know we got one more game tonight that really doesn't matter as we record on Monday, since both teams are just kind of fighting for home field advantage for the playoffs.
Well, I mean, for those fan bases.
Well, for them.
You know, for those skulls, it matters.
Shout out to Sound Guy Galore JR, who will be listening to this. It's going to be a nice way to cap in the weekend. Then next week, everything is a fair game.
Oh yeah,
what can you say? Dallas, Philly, NFC East
can't
games
wait.
Are going to be the must-watch games.
I didn't realize that. I'm very excited the fact that both those games are 4 because I might have, like on my phone, I might have the Cowboys game from because Yahoo Sports Fantasy Football. Shout out to them letting you watch football for free. I might watch that on that one and then have the Giants on Fox on my TV.
There you go.
Whoever puts the curse on, the coach curse.
I don't give a shit. I hope the NFC East burns down. Like I hope it just Seth Rollins and burns down.
Have to wait
it's
to see.
Terrible.
Have to wait and see what happens this Sunday. But let us know what you think. Hit us up on that hashtag ODPH. What was your thoughts about this past week's NFL action? We definitely want to know. We're gonna take a quick break. We'll be right back.
Are you single? Are you divorced, co-parenting, married to a ghost pirate? Are you in an open relationship with a sword swallower and a jouster at the Ren Fair? Do you loathe dating because you never thought you'd be single again? Do you find yourself mindlessly swiping on dating apps only to stumble into people you already know or already slept with? Well, sit back and relax and grab a cup of coffee and share a laugh or two with us. This is Why I'm Single.
Please look for Why I'm Single wherever you listen to podcasts. And remember, don't be a douchebag.
Hey, this is Brian Wolf from Fair City Fire. You are listening to ODPH, the greatest podcast in Binghamton.
Woo!
Hot lips touching, cool thighs feeling, shudder running up, her spine spinning, long day to a long night, but I'm not stopping till I get it right.
Coming back for segment number 2 on this edition of the ODPH podcast, and let's talk a little NBA basketball.
Basketball is
Just
my
not
favorite sport.
the Knicks.
No, Coach. I'm trying to be festive and like good
Thank
spirits
you.
here on this holiday edition of the ODPH.
Appreciate that.
But the Knicks are playing Brooklyn on Thursday.
This is the day after, so the
that's
holidays
fun.
are technically over.
But I still no Knicks.
no,
No.
except when we beat them, then we're gonna get very, very ignorant.
I'll
on
be
Twitter.
loud. I'll be loud then.
Oh,
but
yeah,
I
no,
mean,
yeah, we might get kicked off for Follow Friday. Like that might happen.
Mike Miller, Coach of the Year.
Yeah, like
2 wins.
Something might happen. But this week, though, is the NBA's big Christmas Day schedule. Now, if you're not too familiar, why is this important, you ask? Technically, this is like when the season really kicks off.
Oh, it's just
That you kind of know how each team is doing by this stage. It's not the halfway point, but this is like the unofficial tip-off of the season.
Yeah.
I would say it's like the like I don't even know what to. It's just like an elite schedule base of games that just it's a premier amount of talent playing on this day that there's nothing else going on. Obviously you're with your
Solid
family and
12
stuff.
12 hours of basketball.
Yeah, you're with your family and stuff, but NBA is the only ticket in town, baby. And
Yep.
they know it. And they put on a showcase. That's the word I was looking for. A showcase of games.
Yes.
That I mean, personally, Christmas Day basketball is possibly outside of, the family stuff is my favorite part of Christmas. I love Christmas Day basketball. I mean, Kobe Bryant, Knicks come out in those ugly ass orange uniforms in one year.
Those were atrocious.
Yeah, the Shaq Heat rivalry,
Yeah.
or the Shaq Kobe rivalry when he was playing with the Heat.
Cleveland Golden State when LeBron was there.
Yeah, and then in the early days, the Jordan Nick games that were always so good to watch. I mean, it's just. I mean, obviously that basketball is not like it was in the 90s, Ken. I mean, we talk about it all the time. But, I mean, those were the memories that I had because I just remember watching these games and seeing the team beating the shit out of each other and just being like, my God, this is basketball. But now you see these games, and it's just the bitterness and rivalries that they have now, the pettiness of the rivalries that they have now, which is it's still fun to watch. Just a different kind of fun.
Yeah,
it definitely is. So we're going to give a quick breakdown of each game and kind of give our thoughts and opinions. So, Pat, you got the schedule lined up?
Yep. So leading off the day of games, you've got the Boston Celtics traveling up to the 6 for Christmas Day, 12 noon Eastern. The Boston Celtics against the Toronto Raptors, the defending champs.
Coach?
All right. Well, I'm going to play a little game here because I'm going to play what I would have preferred to have scheduled at this point. So this 12 o'clock game, I would have actually preferred to have the Knicks play the Pelicans. I would have liked to have the number 1 and the number 2 pick playing each other on Christmas Day. I like the idea, Pelicans, Zion.
Yeah,
Knicks, Barrett.
It was
1 and 3. All right, whatever. Either way, though, I would have liked to have the 2 Duke players going against each other, 1 and 3, because they're the ones that are going to be tied to each other for their entire career because of the fact that they play together. So I thought that would have been a lot of fun, whether it's, and plus MSG, Christmas Day, it is a time-honored tradition like I was talking about before. So I really would have liked to seen those two be in the early morning game because then not a ton of people would have watched if it was bad basketball. And if it was good basketball, then it's a win-win. You don't have anything to lose. But this game, Celtics and Raptors, obviously the Raptors right now are playing some extremely good basketball. Celtics have been hot lately. Jason Tatum's playing better. I'm going to go Raptors on this one.
No, yeah, it's very interesting because right now as we record, Boston Celtics are currently second in the Eastern Conference, 20-7 record on a 3-game winning streak, 7-3 in their last 10 games. And on the flip side, Toronto is 21-8. They have won 5 in a row, and they are 6-4 in their last 10. Now, it's going to be very interesting. I'm going to lean Raptors on this one just because it's home court. It's Christmas Day. The Sixers are going to be loud. Drake's going to probably be in some sort of wild, ugly Christmas sweater type deal with maybe Vince Carter or something like that, wild and crazy. I think it's just going to be Toronto.
This game is going to be a lot more fun than I thought it was going to be when it was originally announced. Obviously, with Kawhi not being in Toronto,
right,
you weren't really sure this season, what was Toronto going to be?
I was honestly surprised. I didn't know the Raptors because I haven't been paying that much attention to records in basketball. I see the highlights, but I didn't realize until I was watching SportsCenter this morning, they were talking about the Raptors win last night, and I'm like, holy crap, they're 21-8.
Yeah, no, they're playing very solid basketball.
Yeah.
So this one is actually going to be a really fun kickoff.
Yeah.
I'm actually going to take Boston.
Okay.
I think that they got rid of the problem that is Kyrie and shipped him to the other city team in New York City, which we just won't name, which he can stay there because I don't want him in MSG in any way, shape, or form unless he buys a ticket.
Or visiting.
Yeah. Kemba Walker, I think, has been substantial up there and filled in the role of Kyrie very, very easily.
Yeah, I mean, there's a similar skill set like we talked about before. I mean,
so
they're both scoring point guards who can distribute.
Yeah, and Tatum is benefiting. He's now starting to come into that role.
Yeah, he's really starting to blossom this year, which is fun to see because his growth was prohibited or was slowed down.
Oh, yeah, it was slowed down tremendously by Kyrie. So he's reaping the benefits. And like I said, I think he's going to have a big day on Christmas Day. So I'm taking the Celtics there. Next up on the docket,
you've got the Milwaukee Bucks playing the Philadelphia 76ers in Philly at 2:30 Eastern on ABC. Should mention the first game is on ESPN.
Oh, it's going to be a fun one.
So I would have preferred the Bucks playing the Raptors on this one. I would have preferred the Toronto defense, led by Siakam versus Giannis and the perennial MVP candidate. And I mean, this is what I would have scheduled before. Like, I'm not changing my mind just because of how they're playing.
Oh, no.
I would have loved to see Siakam, who is a absolute defensive animal, have to go up and guard Giannis right now. But obviously, 76ers, Ben Simmons versus Giannis is a fun matchup too. That got really chippy in the playoffs last year.
Yeah.
Embiid right now looks a little lost out there. Again, another thing of they don't. Yeah, I mean, they don't know what they want to do with him. I mean, the problem comes from the fact that, again, and we've, beaten this over, a hammer, Ben Simmons just doesn't want to play at the three-point line. And if you want to be a guard and be a quote-unquote point guard, you have to be outside. So Embiid, gets stuck chucking up three-pointers instead of having his back to the basket where he belongs. So for this game, I'm leaning Bucks. They are so dangerous right now, and I know Ben Simmons gave Giannis a really hard time the year before, but I think with the addition of Kyle Korver and the additional shooting that the Bucks have right now, I like this team a lot. So the thumping that they put on the Lakers the other day just goes to show that they don't care who they're facing. They're going to go in and they're going to stone cold stunner you, and then they're going to walk out of the building. I mean,
it's as the saying goes, something's got to give. Currently, as we record, Milwaukee is first in the NBA in offensive points per game with 120.6 points per game. Defensively, Philadelphia is fourth in the NBA with only allowing 104.7 points per game. So something's got to give on this one. I mean, Milwaukee currently the 1 seed out in the East, 27-4 record, 3-game win streak, 9-1 in their last 10. Philadelphia currently the 5th seed, 21-10 on a 1-game win streak, 6-4 in their last 10. I'm going to be leaning Milwaukee on this one just because Giannis is playing like a man possessed and looking like he's trying to go back-to-back with MVP wins. I mean, currently averaging 31 points, 12.9 boards, 5.6 assists per game. Just like he's on a mission.
I think the deal with Giannis is he knows where he is in the league, and that being the face of the Bucks, perennial MVP candidate,
face of the Knicks,
soon to be. So if he's going to win a chip for Milwaukee, he knows that window is short.
Very,
and that's
because he's leaving.
Yeah, I'm drinking that Kool-Aid.
I mean, you did for an entire year. So
shut up, Pat! Shut up! You shut your mouth.
Exactly.
You don't talk to us like that,
Pat. I like my eggnog, and thank you very much. I'm still drinking it.
I mean, I'm just saying, did this for a year with just don't get your hopes up like you did Katie and Kyrie.
We'll keep doing it. It's just a vicious cycle. The Knicks are a bad relationship. We've had this discussion before.
Yes, and someday they'll come through. So
it's
I'm relying on it.
Vicious cycle of us being disappointed and boisterous about it.
So thus, if he wins the chip for Milwaukee, it'll be easier for him to leave.
It's easier for leave.
Exactly.
It just makes so much sense.
Exactly.
Like if he wins it and brings it back, he's like, "Hey, I did it. Now if I go to New York, you can't boo me. Look at Kyrie. Leonard.
Yeah.
I mean, he did it for Toronto. He leaves. He comes back. He's a hero.
Exactly. So if he can win it for Milwaukee, hey, that's why I say I'm rooting for him, and that's why I'm taking Milwaukee.
There we go. I like that. I'm going to go with that, Ken. Let's do that mentality.
Yeah, that is our mentality.
Go Bucks.
Yes, we are adopting the Bucks.
Yeah, let's go Bucks.
Fear the deer.
Ale House or whatever the hell they call themselves.
Exactly.
Cream City.
Yeah, we're going to have to go find out about
Figure this out. Fear the deer.
There you go.
Exactly. So next up on the docket.
Now I'm just going to preface this. If you are the person in charge of when your family eats dinner on Christmas Day and you're an NBA fan, I would schedule it at this time because this one this one on paper is not going to be good.
Yeah.
The Houston Rockets are playing the Golden State Warriors at 5 o'clock Eastern on ABC.
Yeah, so this I would have gone the Lakers and Clippers. This 5 p.m. game.
I would have gone any other team.
Yeah, well, sure, but the 5 p.m. game to me is always the game that is the game of the evening.
Yeah,
because normally on Christmas you eat early. It's not like Thanksgiving where you're eating. A lot of families might push it off 4 to 6. Like This is Christmas. A lot of people get it out of the way. They're eating early, 3:30, 4 o'clock. This is the showcase game. This is the game that you want people paying attention to. This is where the Lakers and Clippers should have been because this is what households would have stopped that had basketball fiends in the household. They would have stopped everything they were doing to say, hey, listen, honey, put the kids to bed right now. I got to go watch this game. Unfortunately, the schedule makers did not know that Steph Curry was going to break his wrist, that Klay Thompson was 1,000% not going to be gone, was going to be gone. And obviously, people knew that KD wasn't coming back this year to play, but they also probably didn't know that he was not going to be in Golden State right now. So this is a game that just suffers from the schedule coming out early. Obviously, the Warriors suck.
Yeah.
And good for them. They're going to get a top 5 pick, and they're going to be right back in it next year. I mean, it's projected right now to be that kid from Memphis, Wiseman, that will be filthy with him, Draymond, returning Klay Thompson, D'Angelo Russell, whatever they end up doing with him and Curry.
Yeah.
They're going to be very good next year.
Yeah.
But this is this year.
I mean, this year we should know currently they are last in the Western Conference with a record of 6-24.
Yeah, it's bad. I mean, and the Rockets, I mean, I mean, they should be on Christmas Day, and I'd probably put them in a later day. This might be the Rockets I might use. I know where I'm going to use the Rockets next. I mean, it is what it is. This is just poor. It's a poor timing.
Yeah.
The Rockets should win this game handedly. Shouldn't even be a question. James Harden should easily drop 60-plus points.
Yeah, I was just going to say, that's the only reason you're watching this game is because Christmas Day, quasi primetime game, the nation and the world are going to be watching. So it's not going to be like, oh, there's a couple other games on that fans might be watching something locally in your area if you're a fan of that. No, like every basketball fan's eye is going to be on this game. This is like prime. All the ingredients are there for Harden to just go off and score like 70 or something absurd like that. Because it's going to be a one-handed affair because the most recent game Golden State played, this was their starting five. Draymond Green, Glenn Robinson III, Willie Cauley-Stein, Damian Lee, and D'Angelo Russell. That is not exactly striking fear into me. Or saying, oh, this is going to be a real competitive affair.
Yeah, this one, I mean, obviously, the only reason I'm going to watch it is see if Harden can drop 100.
If there's going to be an opportunity, it's this one.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's fair.
That's the only reason. So, I mean, enough said there. I mean, what can you say? The bad scheduling with injuries happening before anybody knew. Yeah. That's why maybe they'll start doing flex scheduling. I don't know. Hard to see about. So, that being said, the marquee game of the day, though.
Oh, my Lord. Yeah.
What can you say about this one?
The battle for Los Angeles will begin. You have the Los Angeles Clippers taking on the Los Angeles Lakers. The Lakers are the home team, I should note. Game time is 8 o'clock Eastern, and the game is on ABC.
What can you say?
Yeah, I mean, this would have been my 5 o'clock game. Like I said, this would have been my national showcase.
Good.
I mean, what I would have probably had put here, this is probably where I would have put the a Houston versus OKC game.
Okay.
Christmas Day always has that one return of an ex-player coming back to the team that he just got traded or left from. So Chris Paul coming back to Houston for the first time in a matchup. The animosity there with him and Harden. And, I mean, OKC's playing well with his leadership. So, I mean, that would have been a nice little fun rivalry and chippiness that would have been able to push the 8 o'clock game. But, here we are. Lakers, Clippers, tremendous. Talked about last segment. Love it. I like Clippers in this game. I think they have too much defense. LeBron's questionable right now going into the game. Said earlier today that he is planning on playing. So we'll see what that actually means. Yeah, he does have to play, but, I mean, he doesn't. I mean, today's NBA, he doesn't have to. So I think he will. Yeah. I don't think he's not going to sit out Christmas Day because
that's the thing. I don't see him sitting out Christmas Day.
A lot of outside pressures. I wouldn't be surprised if maybe a Space Jam trailer drops.
Yeah.
That hasn't been talked about, but I wouldn't be surprised. This would be a very, very good time to do it.
Yeah.
In this game, in between halftime. But I'm liking Clippers. Too much defense, too much Kawhi Leonard and his elite ability to slow down LeBron, and Paul George is playing really well right now.
I mean, this is going to be a great game. Currently, the Lakers are the first seed in the Western Conference, 24-6 on a 3-game losing streak, and they are 7-3 in their last 10. The Clippers, meanwhile, are in the 4 seed, 22-10. They have a 1-game losing streak, and they are 6-4 in their last 10. I think this is going to be the Clippers because I think under normal circumstances, if this was a 100% LeBron James, like perfectly healthy, nothing issue, nothing going on, I think the Lakers might be able to hang in this and even squeak out a win, maybe by 2, 3, 5 points, whatever it is. But you're not dealing with a 100% LeBron James. You're dealing with maybe a 75% LeBron James, 50% LeBron James. For the Lakers to beat the Clippers, you need LeBron James at 100% to go up against the defensive juggernaut that is the Clippers. And let's be honest, he's not. So the Clippers are going to be able to feast all over that.
Let's just realize that in this day and age, as we close out the 2010s, that Christmas Day for the NBA is going to have the Los Angeles Clippers in the marquee matchup.
If you'd have told me that at the start of the decade, I'd have said you're out of your mind.
Yeah, I would say back to the Darius Miles and Eldon Brand days.
Yeah.
That maybe, just maybe, that would have happened. I'm throwing it back. The Knock Yourself Out video by Jadakiss. What can I say there?
Oh, man.
Yeah.
They were fun to watch.
They were. And this team is, too. You think about the turnover they did with the biggest free agent acquisition of the offseason, Kawhi Leonard, getting him to leave, which we all kind of thought he was going to leave Toronto, but he did his job. He got him a chip, and he's a legend up there. He'll always have a hero's welcome when he goes to the Six. Getting Paul George, though, to join him was the biggest steal of all steals to redefine the Clippers' identity, that they play both sides of the ball. They almost remind me of how San Antonio was in the Duncan and Parker days.
Oh, yeah.
Just they play both sides of the ball. They win, not flashy, but they'll win. The Lakers, on the other hand, have always been Showtime. And getting LeBron there, and obviously the drama that was last season to where they are now with Anthony Davis. And
the mess that it was last year.
Exactly. To see where they are now and they're contending, this is going to be the best game of the week. I do like the Clippers in this a lot, even if LeBron does play. Even if he was 100%, I still like the Clippers in this one. It's going to be close, though. I think no matter what, we're talking maybe about a 4-point win for the Clippers. I'm not going to give you a score, but I'll say 4 points. That being said, to close out the night, 5 games on the day.
Yep.
Pelicans at Nuggets.
10:30 Eastern on ESPN.
Coach, your thoughts?
So I would have gone Portland and Denver here.
Yeah.
That rivalry last year in the playoffs, the run that they had, that 7-game series was magic. Let's rekindle that right now, and play that game.
We'll say if the game stays in Denver, you would have Melo returning to Denver.
Yeah, I mean, so all those things would have been a lot of fun. I mean, obviously Melo wasn't on the team when, this would have been scheduled.
Right.
But, yeah, right. I mean, still, I still like the idea of Portland. I mean, honestly, I would have probably preferred the game to be in Portland just because, I mean, that's where the nail was, really set with that 3-point shot made by Dame Lillard from, the coach's line.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that would have been a ton of fun. But, this game doesn't make a ton of sense to me.
No. Well, I mean, on paper, when they made the schedule, Zion and all this.
Right.
All that.
It was going to feature Zion.
No, yeah. I mean, I understand that. If you're going to feature Zion, why not, have him, why Denver? If I'm doing this, I would have wanted to put Zion in a position where there would have been a story there, like the RJ Barrett game versus the Knicks, two teammates now going up against each other. So that, it's storylines. That's what Christmas Day is about. Wrestling, storylines. You got to be able to put and have a certain narrative to these games. So, Denver, New Orleans, Denver versus the New Orleans, it's like, what's the narrative here? What's the story? Denver's great veteran leadership versus a young rookie team in the Pelicans, like a young team. Yeah, I guess, but that doesn't really excite me. That doesn't make me want to stay up till 10:30 being on the East Coast. And if I'm on the West Coast, I'm spent after the Lakers-Clippers game. I'm like, yeah, all right, put me to bed. I had my little thing, and I'm ready to go to bed now, So, this is a tough position for this game. Denver obviously is an elite team. New Orleans right now is in flux from where they were early in the year. Lonzo Ball, who had rekindled, his game in the beginning of the season, has now started to kind of fade away a little bit. His shot has. I think he dipped from shooting over 30% now back down below 30%. So, he's not playing very well. And obviously Zion's not playing. So it's like, obviously it's a very easy game, I think, for Denver to win.
No, yeah, I mean, you look at it, currently the Denver Nuggets are second seed in the West, 20-8 record, have won 6 in a row, and they are 7-3 in their last 10. On the flip side, New Orleans Pelicans are second to last with a 7-23 record, 1-game losing streak, and are 1-9 in their last 10. And you brought up Lonzo Ball. Fantastic stats here. 10.2 points per game, 4.7 boards per game, 5.3 assists per game. This is going to be Denver all day.
It's not bad for a guy who's starting but isn't finishing games. I mean, it's a crowded backfield. I mean, you want to talk about the Knicks having too many point guards. I mean, New Orleans has Drew Holiday, who is a quote unquote shooting guard, but or is a point guard who plays shooting guard. So he's demanding the ball. Lonzo obviously there. Then they've got Hart, who also can run on and off the ball. So, I mean, it makes it difficult for, Lonzo to be productive. But the problem with Lonzo right now is his shot's off again. Yeah. And he's lost it. And Brandon Ingram, the same thing. Another guy who can be on the ball and off the ball. So, when you talk about ball handlers on a team, there's, when a guy's shot's not falling, where's he going to do? He's going to be sitting on the bench. It's just, this is a very, And I mean, right now in New Orleans, talk about trading Drew Holiday.
Yeah.
So it's like this team's in flux. Denver, you read it, second team, best in the West. Have been an elite team in the West for the last few years.
Yeah.
Say no more.
Yeah.
I mean, this should be Denver all day. Pelicans, like you say, are in flux, and they're a young team that has no identity right now.
Right. That's why it's like I get putting Zion here, but why? If maybe anything, it should have been Zion versus the last year's first round pick.
Yeah.
Or you know what I would have also had liked to do. I mean, why isn't Giannis playing on Christmas Day? Dallas versus Denver would have been a fun game.
Yeah.
As much as I don't like that snake in Porzingis, Giannis is an elite talent who should be featured.
Well, and if he was healthy, I think seeing Zion versus Giannis would be fun.
Yeah, I mean, if not that, like Dallas, a young team. So this is where the young team, the young narrative versus the veteran leadership of Denver, that's where that narrative would have played well, because now you have this young up-and-coming 19-9, I think is their record right now, Dallas team featuring one of the, arguably best young players in all of the NBA, and, that snake in the grass, 7-foot softy in Porzingis, coined that.
Yes.
Who, is playing the middle and has played decent right now, not tremendous, but played decent, going up against Denver with Paul Millsap, the backcourt that they have. So that would have been a fun little up-and-coming game versus the already established team.
It's really interesting why they chose that. And like I say, I agree with you. I mean, I think Dallas should have been on there, maybe Dallas at New York. Because it would have been awesome seeing Frank dunk on Porzingis.
That would have been that would have been a good 12 o'clock. That would have been a good opener, too.
Like I would have been okay with that.
But I think the problem, I mean, again, though, I think the story's in R.J. Barrett, so I would have hung my hat on that. But, yeah, this Denver thing, and Denver's a good team. It's just besides the center who's escaping me right now, outside of him, there's really not any skill set that you really want to watch in Denver. Like you don't like the Denver reminds me of San Antonio right now because they win ugly and they beat you down, but they win games.
Yeah.
So it's like you don't want to feature a slugfest, for a game. And I mean, obviously, and Denver could win this game by 30.
Yeah, this could turn out to be real.
It could be. I mean, it literally could be a game where it's 60-30 at halftime, and New Orleans is shooting like sub 40% from the field, and Denver's just closing out on all the shots, playing great defense, shooting above, and they're probably shooting above 50%, and they go into halftime up 30 points.
Yeah. I mean, anything is possible with it. I mean, that's going to be the fun thing about Christmas Day. The history of the NBA, and this is how the official kickoff is, and then obviously the game we all got circled is Clippers and Lakers.
Yeah. It's a tough break what's going on in Golden State, because, I mean, obviously that game was scheduled with the mindset of, like, we were going to get two premier teams at 5 o'clock, and, Golden State has turned into what it turned into.
Yeah, I wonder if the NBA is going to try flex scheduling for next year.
Oh, they can't.
No, well, you never know. Never say never.
It's hard to do because it's not exactly like these stadiums. Like, it's not like in the NFL where you got the stadiums. Okay, you can switch the games because nothing else is really going on. The other issue you have is especially with these arenas like Madison Square Garden, like the Staples Center, that they schedule like 1,000 other things going on.
Yeah.
So, like, I was just for fun, I was looking at Madison Square Garden to see what they're going on because I know we brought up the Knicks playing a couple times. It'd be hard for Madison Square Garden this year because they've got nothing going on Christmas Day. The day after the Knicks are going and playing in Brooklyn, WWE is going there for a live show the day after Christmas.
Well, I wonder if they would try doing something like this, if they schedule Wednesday and Thursday games and just say keep both days open in case we need to flex. If they try doing something, I'm not saying it's going to happen, but if they wanted to try something like that, I could understand that.
Right. The difficult part is, it's just in the scheduling. It's in the logistics.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, with the way that the NBA schedule is now, with teams playing, so many games during the week, plus, the arenas and the venues having to have, concerts and other, hockey, especially for teams that have hockey, which, I mean, luckily is on a break right now.
Right.
But, they might play the 23rd, and then now you got to change the ice. So it's like there's a lot of logistics that go into scheduling the NBA stuff, which is like kudos to you NBA schedule makers, because I mean you've got to be literally looking at 32 different calendars, trying to figure out what arena works on what date, and travel schedules and all this bullshit. So it's just like gotta be a logistical nightmare. I mean the NFL, it's just like you could throw a dart between two teams and then home or away. All right, perfect. The Patriots are playing Cincinnati in Cincinnati this year. Done, and then throw a dart at what week? Week 13. Perfect. Guys, everything work out? Yay,
because the only thing the NFL stadiums really have to worry about scheduling around is, okay, you might have like a state high school football, thing going on with playoffs or whatever, but those are usually on like a Friday or Saturday.
Yeah, but then you don't have to change the lines for anything. All you got to do is extend the hash marks out another 5 yards.
Yeah, so I mean, it's something the NBA is going to have to kind of look at if they really wanted to explore that route. I don't think they're going to, but looking at the lineup on Christmas Day, they got a lot of good games lined up, and we'll all be tuned in 8 o'clock on the Eastern Coast.
Yeah, I mean, and now it's, like you said, it's the start, it's the ascension of the NBA schedule. Now you're going to really see guys get involved, be there, play, commit, really start to push it a little bit. Obviously there's still going to be load management and all that jazz, which is insane. I just don't understand. I mean, I grew up with guys playing 82 games a year and having the same schedule. Yeah. And all of a sudden now it's, we can't play back-to-back nights. So
it's a different world out there, man.
Yeah, it's nuts. And it's so funny because like when people have these arguments about, who's better, LeBron or Jordan, I just go back to LeBron can't go out till 4 a.m. playing cards and then go drop 60 on the Knicks.
Yeah.
Like he would need to have 8 hours of sleep, wake up to the sun sliding in his windows, waking naturally, probably some sort of bird chirping that he allows, that he selects. Yeah, and then, he's a rose, his breakfast is already made and everything. Nah, Jordan just rolled out of the bar, out of a casino and was like, hey, take my cigar, where's my shorts, get me to the arena, let's go to shoot around.
It's just like I say, it's a different era. But the one thing that remains the same is
Christmas Day. Hey!
And that's how, we'll all be tuned in this Wednesday to watch. So hit us up on that hashtag ODPH. What is your thoughts about this Wednesday's Christmas Day lineup for the NBA? What games are you really amped up for? Which ones are you not, and why? Definitely let's have the conversation. We're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back.
Wonder Soul.
Hey, I'm Lucas, the host of Wonder Soul, a weekly podcast series featuring a variety of topics dealing with life's many passions and experiences. Join me and friends each week as I discuss topics ranging from pop culture to real-life conversations that all can find relatable. New episodes bring new guests and new topics and release every Friday. More content can be found on Wonder Soul's YouTube and Twitch channels. Stay up to date and connect with Wonder Soul through social media by following us on Twitter and Instagram, and we hope that you enjoy Wonder Soul wherever you listen to podcasts. So do good and take care.
2, 3, 4.
Hey, this is Johnny Moose from Excite Wrestling, and you're listening to the ODPH. I didn't mess it up. I thought I would. Right now, back to the guys.
Coming back for the third segment on this holiday edition of the ODPH podcast.
We're giving you an extra special gift there, listeners.
Yes, we had somebody decide to crash the studio, a longtime favorite of the show. It's the one and only Nostradogmus. Edwin, what's going on?
What's going on? Nothing much.
He heard us talking basketball. He heard us say something about Oklahoma City. He came running in the studio.
I said that OKC should have been playing on Christmas Day.
That was a great game last night with LA Clippers. Holy cow.
I did not watch a second of it, but I'll tell you, I would have loved to have seen Chris Paul go into Houston on Christmas Day.
That would have been.
Thank you very much. My NBA schedule is
gets
already better.
Gets the dog seal of approval.
That would have been nice.
You'll have to tweet out that. Hit him up at Coach Duffy 11. He definitely wants to get that smoke with everybody about his schedule. So do you want to see that happen next season?
I should post it. I'll post the games. Yeah, I'll post what I would have scheduled. There we go.
Just post it and tag Adam Silver and NBA in it, too.
Yeah, all right.
Yeah, we'll make sure that goes viral.
He's checking those mentions daily.
Yeah, for sure.
But we talked basketball last segment, but we have to talk college football this
Little
week.
football sandwich.
Yeah.
So bread is NFL and college, and then the meat was the NBA.
Yes, because this weekend there's a big couple games going on. It's bowl season. If you've been following,
There's three big games this weekend.
Oh, that's right. Who's Notre
The
Dame?
New
playing?
Mexico Bowl. God, how did that go?
The Camping World Bowl, which we talked about. Notre Dame is playing Iowa State. Which, hold on, real quick. Hold on. It's very, very funny because Notre Dame's playing Iowa State. USC is playing Iowa. So I was telling my wife, I said, this is very funny because Notre Dame, USC, obviously time-honored tradition rivalry. Iowa State and Iowa, time-honored rivalry. So it's very fun that the two are playing each other. Very WWE booking, if you will.
Oh, okay.
So obviously this weekend, minus Notre Dame, even though their game is important.
Goddamn right it is. Yeah, goddamn right.
We have our top 4 teams in the nation.
Shake your head, dog.
Dog is shaking his head.
Very important game.
One of these days we're going to get webcam in here for this.
Very important.
So who is playing for the BCS title game? Top 4 teams are in.
Yep, so top 4 teams are in. The first game to kick off the playoff format, you have the number 4 Oklahoma Sooners, 12-1, going up against the number 1 LSU Tigers, 13-0, on ESPN, 4 o'clock Eastern in the Chick-fil-A Peach Bowl, taking place from Atlanta, Georgia.
Coach, your thoughts on this?
Oklahoma has a very uphill battle to fight here.
As we sit here recording, LSU is currently favored by 13.5, and the over-under is 76.
That's all Oklahoma's offense. Joe, like I said last week when I dubbed Joe Burrows the Heisman, he is playing lights-out football right now, going to be the first pick in the draft, and I like them to win this game handedly. I actually think that LSU's defense will be able to handle Oklahoma's offense better than, the over-under is going to tell. So I wouldn't exactly pick the over on this game. But I love Jalen Hurts, though. I think he's going to make a great NFL quarterback, especially given the fact that you've seen Lamar Jackson's success. Yeah. That I think you can plug and play him in the same role and watch him succeed. But again, I like LSU. Go Tigers or Go. Go? I don't know how you say it down there. It's Go. All right.
Yes. It's just
Go
spelled differently.
You would almost think that there's almost no way LSU can lose this. 13.5 points. This, that, and the other. And I think LSU's going to win. That just, if I were a betting man, wouldn't stop me from throwing a couple bucks down on Oklahoma, just to maybe, and nothing huge that you would, regret putting down later, but maybe $10, $20, whatever it is, because hey, fun.
Fair enough. Dog, do you have any feel on this game?
I feel like LSU should cruise, but I just got a sneaky suspicion that Oklahoma will make it a little bit closer than everybody are thinking.
So you're saying that LSU is going to win, but Oklahoma will cover the spread?
Yes.
That's preposterous.
Ooh, roll them dice. Roll them dice.
Jalen Hurts, he knows.
Hey,
he knows
I like Jalen Hurts, but Oklahoma's defense is about as Swiss cheese as you can get.
Yeah, it's a little better than last year.
That doesn't take much. That defense was also very bad last year.
He's not wrong, folks.
Heavyweight title fight.
Yeah, this one, I have to agree with Dog, actually. I think this is going to be a little closer than people realize. But when you have the Heisman-winning Burrow as your quarterback, he's going to want to make a statement thing to solidify his number 1
He doesn't need to make a statement. He is the statement.
Well,
I heard a story last week that kids were, when he played in high school football, were putting pens and permanent marker in their socks, so when they went through the handshake line, they could get his autograph while they were shaking hands. That's how good of a talent kids are. I saw.
Wasn't LeBron doing the same thing in high school too, though?
Well, LeBron was like a different animal.
Yeah, LeBron's a whole other thing.
Yeah.
This is a guy, Joe Burrows, who was a scholarship quarterback at Ohio State, who couldn't crack the field.
Yeah.
Ed Ogeron comes into his living room, probably screams and yells and brings some gumbo up there, gets him down to LSU, and now he's the Heisman, the number 1 pick, and arguably the best quarterback in the SEC.
Yeah, you have to give him that credit. Obviously, he's going to really want to put on performance. Hurts is going to show up, too. I think it's going to be a lot more high scoring than anybody's really leaning? Like,
I don't know. I just LSU. My thing is that LSU's defense is just so good.
Yeah.
They're so good, and they're underrated good. I mean, they put a whooping on the entire SEC. So it's not like games were like back and forth. Like, they put a thumping on these teams.
Yeah. And so it's going to be a really fun one to watch. I do like LSU, though, to win. And who are they going to go up against, Pat?
Well, the other game you got later that night, taking place at 8 o'clock Eastern on ESPN. It is the PlayStation Fiesta Bowl taking place from Glendale, Arizona, where the number 3 Clemson Tigers with a 13-0 record are going up against the number 2 Ohio State Buckeyes with a 13-0 record.
Coach, your thoughts?
So, I mean, I value my life, so I will have to feel like I have to say Ohio State, but I mean, it depends on what Ohio State team they're going to get. Are we going to get the Michigan Ohio State team, or are we going to get the team that played Wisconsin in the Big Ten title game that had to fight and claw their way back into the game? Because if it's that team, there's no way they're going to win.
Say currently, as we record, Clemson is favored by 2.5 points, and the over/under is 63.
And my thing with Clemson is the ACC was an all-time low, quite possibly the worst ACC that we've seen, and probably, arguably, since it really, expanded, and the Big Six, power conferences became. Because I mean, Florida State, awful. North Carolina, they were, probably one of their worst years in the last 5 years. Miami is an absolute stinker.
Yeah,
I mean, you can't even try to say anything about them. And obviously Georgia Tech's always the bottom of the barrel. Duke and all these other ACC teams, just not very good football. So I mean, it's really for Clemson to sink their teeth into and win every year, and that's what they do. Obviously, they still have an elite quarterback in Trevor Lawrence, and they still have a very good run game. They still have a very good defense. So it's not to say that I don't dislike them. I just think that the level of talent that they have not played this year, and the fact that they won the championship last year, there might be a little bit of a hangover, and I'm going to stay with Ohio State on this one.
Dog, you have any feelings on this game?
I would probably go Clemson because Ohio State's in the Big Ten, so is Nebraska, so...
Dog keeps it 100, folks.
Wow.
Wow.
I'll just go with Clemson because...
I mean, for college, though, don't you don't root for the conference? It's different in the NFL. Like, I hope Dallas and Philly burn to the ground. But, like, if Navy was playing in the national title in an independent, no, but, like, if North Carolina was playing in the basketball, since I do cheer for Duke in basketball, I would probably cheer for them to win a national title because I want the ACC to win.
Oh, hell no.
Conference pride, baby.
Hell no.
Conference pride.
No.
I'm sorry. Conference pride.
Not with Big Ten football either.
Oh. Yeah. No, I'm rolling with Dog on this
Pish
one.
posh. That's not even like Ohio State and Nebraska's a rivalry.
Wait a minute. We got a Carolina fan and a Duke fan agreeing? What the hell?
Okay, here's the thing. We're not talking basketball.
Oh.
Okay, if we talk college basketball, we will...
I guess it's different because Notre Dame's not in a conference for football. So, like, I don't hang my hat on anything. But, like, in basketball, it's like I would much rather the ACC win the national championship than, like, the SEC win it.
Oh, hell no.
Man, I don't want to see Alabama win a national championship. Hell no.
No.
I mean, I guess that's fair, though, because I absolutely despise Virginia.
Yeah,
so
no,
I guess I don't know.
Right,
Pat, maybe I'm wrong.
All right, Pat, you who you got? I need a minute.
I'm going to lean Ohio State Buckeyes on this one, and I truly don't have a rooting interest with either team. I mean, I'm just like Coach brought it up, so I was kind of curious. I was looking at the two schedules, and I mean, I'm looking at Clemson's schedule, and it's not really jumping out to me like a lot of.
It's bad.
It's okay, they beat Wofford. Congratulations, you beat North Carolina State. Congratulations, you beat
not really this year.
You beat Wake Forest.
No,
congratulations. I mean, while on the flip side, you look at
what was their out of conference though. What was their besides Wofford? What was their out of conference?
I would have to pull that up. I don't have that immediately in front of me.
All right, well, go ahead, pull it up, and then
But you look on the flip side. You look on the flip side with Ohio State. Okay, yeah, they played Florida Atlantic the first week, but every team in college football plays some cookie cutter cupcake team the first week, so they can absolutely stomp them, and then they get into the real meat. They went and played Michigan State, Maryland, Rutgers, Penn State, Michigan, Wisconsin. I think just they went through a better test and a better level of ability with some of the other teams where Clemson might have coasted a little bit.
So their toughest out-of-conference game was Week 2 against Texas A&M, who finished ranked 12th.
Right.
But that game was also at Clemson. So not a true test.
Right.
Meanwhile, Ohio State, the Big Ten, arguably this year was probably the best that it's been, in the last 5 years with how good Michigan, was and how well how good Wisconsin was. And Michigan State is always a tough team. So that's why I just think Ohio State's a little more battle tested.
It's going to be a close game.
Yeah, either way you shake it.
Either way you go with it. I just like Lawrence as a quarterback that's been there, and he's not going to get rattled. And I think that he is going to he's flown under the radar this season, you almost want to think. He's definitely, based off the schedule, he has
because, they just haven't played anybody. He's probably not, of the games that they've played, he's probably had to finish 2 of them.
Yeah. But either way, since he's already been there, you've already gone through the rigors of being in the tournament to get to the national championship and then win it, it's hard to go against the kid. And hard to go against Dabo, too.
Can I tell you the one thing that they haven't seen, though? Chase Young. They haven't seen a defensive end like that. And I don't care how good Alabama's defense was, or ever will be. They were not as good as Chase Young is, period.
Well, Chase Young, who is rumored to be drafted number 2 by the Giants.
No, now that they won, they're like 4th. So I hope he goes back to college. Yeah, I'm selfish. I said it. Go back to school, young man. I know he did.
He said he was.
But you can't take these kids for their word anymore. They're blowing smoke. Justin Fields wasn't going to, or not. The Oklahoma quarterback, Hurts, wasn't going to transfer. Well, where is he now? Oklahoma.
Hey, you never know. For every Hurts, you get a Tim Tebow that stays for 4 years. So but
I will die on this hill.
Hey, he did and brought the Gators to the championship, so I can't be mad at him about that. But going into this, though,
the linebacker that he was supposed to be.
Hey, he still got it. He still brought home the chip. That's all that matters. NFL did him wrong. But we can
Urban Meyer. I'm talking about what Urban Meyer did in recruiting him.
Oh yeah, Urban,
shady bastard. Chris Leak, he's coming in to play linebacker. Please stay.
Yeah, Urban is an interesting character, and I think that's probably the nicest thing I'll say about that. But going into this weekend, though, this is why we kind of like the Bowls, the series, because before, we didn't have the tournament. It was always based on the AP poll.
Yeah, it was just 1 versus 2.
Yeah, which you don't really get that true feeling of a championship. Just whoever gets in there, and then there's always somebody on the outside looking.
Well, what about me?
Yeah, this helps remedy that a little bit. Granted, because I know people have asked about doing 8 teams and make it longer. I don't see the need for it.
If you're going to have 6 power conferences, and eventually, I just think that that's what this is going to shape into, is just all, there being 6 power conferences, then I think you just set 6 teams into the thing, and then you rank 1 through 6, and then obviously 1 and 2 get a bye.
Yeah.
And I think that's where it will eventually be, because that's what college football is ultimately trying to do. That's why the ACC, the SEC, the Big Ten, the Pac-12, that's why they made those power plays to get those teams when they could, because they were trying to expand so they weren't the league that folded.
Yeah. So, obviously, they are stepping in the right direction with it. And that's the one thing you have to say about college football.
Yeah, it's a lot better. My God, the BCS, all that, it was bad. It was bad in the sense that, especially back in the 90s when it was just the AP poll, and, Notre Dame could be playing Georgia in the Peach Bowl, but then, Nebraska or Oklahoma could have been playing Alabama in the Cotton Bowl, and then, Alabama won, but then Notre Dame won handedly, and all of a sudden they're sharing the national title.
Yeah.
That was stupid. So at least now, there's a playoff, 4 teams, definitive answers, 1 versus 4, 2 versus 3, and then you get a championship game.
Yeah, and that's how it should be. So the
NCAA is making more money, and how can they argue about that?
That's a whole other topic. No, it's true. You're right. You're right.
I'm business here. You know what I'm saying? Let's keep it 100, as the kids will say.
Yeah.
It's a business, and now they have 1 extra game, tickets, sponsorships, advertisement.
Everybody
Moolah.
wins. Yeah, everybody wins one way or
We
another.
need another video game, though.
Goddamn right we do. That's what this segment should have been about. Where's my video game?
Dog is coming in with the hot takes today.
And ice cream bars.
Well, I mean, I don't want a 2 ice cream bar. It'd probably be a pretty plain flavor.
Oh, jeez.
I want my video game. I want my NCAA 12 or 20
Baby steps first.
in
folks.
my Xbox Platinum or whatever the hell they're calling it tomorrow.
Baby steps, Coach. Baby
I
steps.
will not. I will not accept this. I can't. It made me so mad when I figured out that Xbox 360 games couldn't convert to Xbox One because now I can't play NCAA 14, and it's been 4 long years, and Madden just is not the answer. And that game that independent developer came out with, I credit you for doing it, but it is piss poor, and I'm not spending my money on it. Don't care.
That being said, this weekend, BCS,
College football. I mean, the bowl season's fun.
bowl season has been fun. So obviously they're going to end it on a good note. And then
Are we not going to pick a winner? Are we not going to say who we're going to win outright?
Well, I figure we'll save it to the national championship. We got to see who gets there first.
All right.
Yeah.
That's what I was figuring on.
I mean, I like LSU. I like LSU to win it all. I'll just put that out there now. And they could lose on Saturday, and now I'm going to look like a big dummy. But you know what? I put it out there. Shoot or shoot.
Hey, shoot your shot, man.
LSU.
Nothing wrong with that.
Well, they got 2 weeks between the freaking games, too.
Yeah.
Go
What is that?
Tigers. Go.
That being said, the games are going to be held this Saturday. Hit us up on Twitter. Hit us up on social media. Use the hashtag ODPH. Hit up at Coach Duffy11. Give him your take on who you think is winning this tournament.
GAUEAUX. Gow.
And you can please correct him on the spelling.
I'll say I don't have the spelling in front of me, and I know that's wrong.
Yeah. Was it GAUIX?
I think it's just
Yeah, there's definitely an I.
No,
it's GA. Yeah.
GEAUX.
Thank you. That's what I'm trying to say. But anyway,
Nice.
games are this Saturday. Hit us up. Let us know what you think. Who's winning, and do you agree with or disagree with Coach Duffy? That's what we want to know. We're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back.
This is Rich, the host of the Three Fat Nerds podcast and co-host of the Horror Zone 607 podcast, and you are listening to our hashtag 607 podcast brothers, the Ocho Duro Parlay Hour. Now kick it back over to Ken Moneybags and the crew.
Coming back for the final segment on this holiday edition of the ODPH podcast. Pad, what you got for that local minute?
Well, local minute, of course, we are talking some Binghamton Devils hockey, looking at their games from last week. They had a game on Friday, December 20th, where they traveled up to Rochester to play the Americans, where they won by a score of 2-1. And then on Saturday, December 21st, they traveled up to Syracuse to play the Crunch, where they lost by the final score of 5-2. Looking at their games for this coming weekend, they travel back up to Syracuse on Friday to play another game against the Syracuse Crunch, game and time 7 o'clock. Saturday, they return home to play the Rochester Americans, game time 7:05. More information, binghamtondevils.com.
And Binghamton Bulldogs action, Coach?
Yeah, they had a game, another home game, because they forever just play at home, against Westchester. Victory of 130-101. The Bulldogs sliding into the number 4 spot in your top ABA 25 poll. They have a game against the 18th nationally ranked Camden Monarchs, featuring a once all-time high school elite player in Lenny Cook, coming to Binghamton, playing for Camden. Yeah, man, Lenny Cook, the Lenny Cook, who was 1-2 with LeBron James in the class of 2004, now playing for the Camden Monarchs. And as far as I know, still on the roster, and will be playing against Binghamton on Saturday.
All right.
That is a 7:05 start at the St. Patrick's Gym over in Binghamton. And for more information, Binghamton Bulldog. Oh, how could I not mention? We're on the countdown to Syracuse here.
Yes, Coach and I are locked and loaded.
We are
for the
locked
game.
in. Thanks to Ken over here securing the tickets. Didn't want to miss a beat here. Last post by the Bulldogs. They are at or around under 100 tickets.
Yeah.
So get your tickets while they're still there, because they will not have them at the door.
Yeah, that was the big news breaking from them this week, that they are not going to sell tickets at the door. So if you want to go to the game of games this season,
I mean everything on the line in that game against Syracuse for the Binghamton Bulldogs.
Yes, they I mean, trying to put it the words in the hype, I don't think we're doing enough justice. They need to show up and they need to ball out. Syracuse is coming in with the biggest chip on their shoulder.
Big chip.
And that is scary seeing the size of Syracuse as well.
For sure. I mean, because they're all monsters.
Exactly. It's like Space Jam in real life.
Yeah. I mean, listen, it was a lot of fun last year. The teams got very, very chippy, and I'm expecting it again, especially with all the social media chatter that we've talked about, the signings, the releases, the moves, the this, the that, the third. It's going to be very personal, and it's going to be very heated. So I highly recommend that if you have not gotten your tickets yet, that you do it. And if you do get it, I highly recommend that you get to that gym well before 7:05 because the place will be packed.
Get there early. It's going to sell out regardless.
For sure.
It's just a matter of get your tickets early, get there early, get a good seat. You're going to see a show.
Yep.
Just depends on who's going to be doing the highlights because Syracuse is coming in and they got some ammunition and they're going to be
and they're not playing. Yeah,
they're not going to be playing around that night.
For more information, BinghamtonBulldogs.com or their active Facebook.
Yes, and we also have to mention Excite Wrestling, January 4th.
Hey,
going down at the X. Cage match, Tremont and Stockade. Absolutely going to be a wild night. Dog is going to be down there. Finn's going to be down there.
Dog, you coming down?
I'm always there.
Dog's always
there.
He is there.
He's always in the building.
Sometimes I have little problems, but
no, all right. Yeah, you were there last time. That's right. That's right.
Yeah.
Dog is not. See, we don't have you behind a paywall like Patreon.
We gotta be careful.
Yeah, we have to watch what you mentioned down there. We don't want you to get you kicked out. But for
just don't bring your outside food in.
Yes.
Because you will get in trouble like I did.
Yes. ExciteWrestling.com for more information. Johnny Moose is saying that he's going to be making an appearance sooner than later on the podcast.
Okay.
So we got to hold him to that. Some for Star Wars this past week, and he was talking about that. And so stay tuned for that. ExciteWrestling.com for more information. And let's round those bases and take the show home, shall we? Pad, you want to lead us off?
Sure, I'm going to talk a little baseball, but I'm not talking any wilder, outrageous contracts. No, it's something a little interesting that you might be seeing coming in the next 5 seasons. Maybe. According to the Associated Press, there is a report saying that umpires are agreeing to cooperate with Major League Baseball in the development and testing of an automated strike system as part of a 5-year labor contract they announced this past Saturday. It says the Major League Baseball Umpires Association also agreed to cooperate and assist if Commissioner Rob Manfred decides to utilize the system at the Major League level. The people that spoke to the Associated Press in this report spoke on condition of anonymity because those details of the deal, which is subject to ratification by both sides, had not been announced. Now, this is not the first time we have seen automated strike zone used in professional ball. The Independent Atlanta League became the first American professional league to let a computer call balls and strikes during their All-Star game back in July. The way this works, according to the article I'm reading, it says plate umpire Brian DeBrouwer wore an earpiece connected to an iPhone in his pocket and relayed the call upon receiving it from a TrackMan computer system that uses Doppler radar. Also, the Arizona Fall League, which is a fall baseball league played out in Arizona with some of the top prospects in baseball, used it for a few dozen games this year at Salt River Fields. So this is going to be something that they're testing and figuring out, and if they want to, they'll bring it up within the next 5 years. So something to keep an eye on.
Yeah, it's going to be really interesting to see how they do that. I'm a little skeptical, but I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt.
I think it's something that if they end up perfecting it, quote unquote perfecting it, or getting it as close to perfect as you can and bringing it in, I think can be very beneficial to the game, because I think if you watch even just one baseball game, especially nowadays with not just the national games, but the local, broadcast, the local regional sports networks, having that, computer generated strike zone on the screen, and you just see some of those where those pitches go, and you're like, oh my God, how are you calling this a ball or a strike? It's so, I've seen some balls called strikes, pitches called strikes that are in the opposing batter's box where there's nobody standing. Mm-hmm. It'll be good for baseball, I think, if they can get it working right.
Yeah, I mean, just gotta give it the benefit of the doubt. It's just, I don't know. It's just every time they get so technical with that kind of stuff, freaks me out a little bit.
Yeah,
Coach. How about for your base?
Well, I mean, in news from today, one toughest man in the freaking world, J.J. Watt, is apparently attempting to make a comeback for this season. Obviously, torn pec earlier this season. One of possibly the worst injuries that you can have in football or really in sports in general. I mean, it's super uncomfortable. Obviously, a guy that needs to use his chest and his, and his arms to be able to move and throw guys around. Tremendous for him for the willingness to come back. Obviously, the Texans would greatly appreciate his return and much needed return. That would help that would help toughen that defensive line. Help that linebacker core. Whether they're dressing as the Shield or Average Joe's Gym. I'd be interested to see what J.J. Watt would have to say when he comes dressed in the locker room. But I mean, that again, that is easily a 9-month injury that takes a minimum time to rehab and come back from, and he is looking to come back in time for the playoffs.
I can't help but wonder. Pec injury, came back in a freakish short amount of time. Somebody else we know did that once upon a time. I can't help but wonder if he called him up and said, "Hey, what did you do for your torn pec injury?" That being one John Cena.
Bum, 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 bum.
Yeah, I can't help but wonder.
I mean, possibly. Maybe use the same doctors.
Yeah.
I mean, listen, Seth Rollins came back from a torn ACL in 6.
Yeah.
So
and let's be honest, some of these athletes are just freaks of nature.
Yeah,
like that.
and some of them are just tough as freaking nails, and I would definitely put J.J. Watt in that category.
That's very
Have
true.
you seen the workout commercials?
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, animal.
Yeah. That being said, he's not the only person rumored to be making an appearance, or reappearance, should I say.
Possibly.
Dog, you have some news.
Speaking of another possible return, with the Seahawks losing their entire backfield, just about
literally
rotating past the characters,
with Chris Carson suffering a season-ending hip injury and C.J. Prosise. There was news today that out of Seattle that Marshawn Lynch was making a return visit to possibly see what we can do here and
get the Skittles.
Get them ready. Taste that rainbow.
I don't know who, I don't know what company makes Skittles, but call them up, be like, listen, we need like a AC-130 size plane delivered.
What kind of shape is he in? That's what I want to see.
That's what I'm wondering, because
my God.
It's only been he played, I think, October's last year was the last time he played.
Yeah.
So it's not out of the realm. I mean, I think he's
the
type of dude that can show up and.
Dude's not putting in 2 days in the gym though, back squatting 385 for reps right now. Like he put the weight room and he was like, ship it somewhere else. I'm not even looking at this thing.
Yeah, but if I think if he's half of what it was, and whatever, I think they just need the energy spark. They're going to have a big one coming in Seattle Sunday night against San Francisco, so just that beast mode energy and getting everybody fired up I think will help him.
If he has 10 carries for 10 yards, that's a win for Seattle.
Yeah.
That's it. That's all they need. 10 carries, 1 yard per carry. That's a win. Because he hasn't ran, it's been a year.
Yeah.
A year. Look at what happened with Ezekiel Elliott week 1 when he missed training camp and all of preseason. He looked like hell against the Giants week 1.
Yeah, this is going to be really puzzling. I don't know what's inspiring him to come back. Because, I miss him on the sidelines at Oakland.
Yeah. Why?
Marshawn's a different dude.
He's a different cat, man.
He's a different dude. So,
and I guess it was up for Pete Carroll. Pete Carroll was meeting with him to make the decision, which is interesting.
Well, I think Carroll's got to assess what he's going to get.
Yeah,
because I think if Marshawn, don't stay calm when I say this. I think that if he thinks that Marshawn's going to just come in for a game and then disappear, he's going to be like, why waste the time?
Was Sean Alexander called?
Ooh,
maybe he was reached out to.
I doubt it.
He's a little older than.
Yeah.
Hey, listen, you got to kick the tread on some tires, all right?
I fully agree with you, but
was Priest Holmes dialed?
Wow, man,
bringing up some names.
You were digging back ever since we started talking that video game, man. You were digging the names out today.
I'm just saying, I understand the idea of it. There are guys right now, that you could get that have been running.
They've brought in Robert Turbin, who's familiar with that offense. They've brought in C.J. Anderson. They bought.
Oh, they did bring in C.J. Anderson for a workout.
Alfred Blue last week. So
there's a name, Alfred Blue.
There's names outside beast mode, but I would love if that number 24 was back in green and blue on Sunday night.
I'm telling you.
That would be incredible.
I'm telling you.
Pounding Sherman back into the ground.
I'm telling you. I'm telling you.
Dog coming with that.
Whoa! I'm telling you. I Googled it. Mars Inc. is the company that makes Skittles. They need to, maybe there's an Air Force base nearby. Get a hold of the Air Force base. Listen, we need to get a lot of Skittles up to the Seattle for Marshawn. We need it ASAP. We need some help. Pack out that aircraft to the brims with Skittles. I think that'll convince them.
Yo, how pissed is
Oakland?
All those other guys right now that can't get on a team, like Ocho Cinco, who was begging for phone calls, and Terrell Owens, who was like, "Hey, I'm still worked out," and then Marshawn Lynch just speed dial number 2, Pete Carroll. What up, Doe?
But I
feed me some Skittles.
I think in those circumstances, though, like with Chad Johnson and T.O., it's how they left teams.
Yeah,
sure. Marshawn, I mean, the only thing you could say, and I'm not saying Oakland would be mad.
What? Yes, they would.
No. But hear me out when I say this. I don't think they'd necessarily be as mad if he went there because of the history there.
I guess.
I think that they'd still be, a little mad, but. Then again, they get Jacobs there, so I mean they're doing all right.
Yeah, sure, that's true.
So I mean, I think that in that circumstance, I don't think they'd be as mad. But like I said, when you see him Marshawn getting hyphy on the sidelines with E40 blaring, I mean that's the image when he's just going crazy, just representing Oakland doing that. Like it was just a different dynamic that you fit in with the Raiders. But to see him back with Seattle is also a thing too, because he's synonymous with Russell Wilson and Carroll, and what they built up there.
The earthquake.
And dare I say, if he trucked right through Sherman,
Beastquake.
Yeah, there you go, Beastquake.
Oh yeah, I mean that whole.
I mean, you just might not want to meet Bosa in that backfield though.
Yeah, I mean
that would send right back home.
Money's still on Marshawn on that one though.
I don't know. Bosa's a different cat. Homie.
Yeah.
Bosa's a whole animal.
That could be very, very interesting come Sunday. So we'll have to stay tuned for that, because if he comes out there, we'll be resharing Dog's tweets and Instagram posts heavy on the page this weekend.
I mean, to his credit, like Dog said, though, I mean, he knows the offense, knows the system, so it's not like
it'd be easy walk.
Yeah, it'd be easy walk in there.
So stay tuned for that. So for my run of the base, just a very quick one. UFC fight card this weekend over in Seoul, Korea, I believe.
Yeah.
So the main event had some shifting going around because Brian Ortega couldn't fight. The Korean Zombie was fighting the one and only Chan Sung Jung, and had a step up in opponent of being Frankie Edgar, who was supposed to be fighting at bantamweight, but decided to step up and fight at featherweight for this one. And something you don't hear every day, Frankie was stopped in the first round.
Yeah.
Korean Zombie looked amazing. Absolutely amazing. Actually, it was in Busan, South Korea, where the fight was. Korean Zombie's home background. And, I mean, that place is absolutely lit up. And after he won, he called out Volkanovski. Which I am all day ready for that fight.
Sign me up.
Yeah. And obviously for Frankie, where do you go from here?
Retirement.
Home.
Yeah. Dog, you have any feelings on this?
Back to New Jersey or wherever he's from.
Okay, fair enough. Yeah.
I mean, you can't.
What do you got left to prove?
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. I mean, Frankie has done everything in this fight, and I mean, you could argue a Hall of Fame career.
Yeah.
Definitely his lightweight title run is one of legend. And to see that he's bounced around from featherweight and he was going to drop to bantam, which, I mean, he'd be a big bantamweight. I don't know at this stage how he would do.
And I mean, if when you're known as a tough guy, and then you're getting knocked out in the first round, it is like, I mean, Chuck Liddell comes to mind. Like, it's tough to bounce back at this stage of your career getting knocked out in the first round, because now you're soft, you know. I'm not being disrespectful. No, just saying, like, now the stigma is out there. Like, yeah, this guy is not as tough as he once was. You can knock him off this pedestal.
Yeah, I mean, it's just something really, like, I hate seeing it, and we'll have to see what Frankie wants to do. If he wants to try one more fight, I'd be okay with it. Like, I didn't think he looked past his prime. It's not like when B.J. Penn was talking about coming back and just how bad that was.
God.
So this is definitely a different fight for that. So if he wants to come back, I'd be all right with that. And if for Korean Zombie, make that title shot. I mean, the only reason he lost to Aldo is because his arm popped out.
That's
during
painful.
that first fight.
Yeah, that hurts.
During that first fight. And obviously he had a couple setbacks here and there because of different reasons. But, man, who else is there at featherweight you can do? I mean, you could do Ortega, but I wouldn't do it at this stage. And obviously, sky's the limit. I mean, sign me up, Volkanovski and Korean Zombie. I'm there first day. First day for tickets. So we'll have to see what happens there. So let us go and round out the show with some locks and leaps. Final week. Can Pad hang on to it? Dog, do you have your picks? If you want to take a look while we're rounding, we'll definitely let you do that. So, Pat, why don't you kick us off? Who you got?
Well, I'm going to look at one of the 1 o'clock games, that being the New Orleans Saints and Carolina Panthers. Currently, New Orleans is favored by 13 points. A lot going on the line for that game where you still have some of the seeding up in the NFC still going on. Not quite sure what's going to happen. So I definitely think, plus Carolina is just bad. They're just bad. I mean, they're sitting at 5-10. It's not good. So I think New Orleans is going to be able to pull that one out. For my leap, Dog, you're going to love me for this one. I'm looking at the Sunday night game where the San Francisco 49ers are traveling up to Seattle to play the Hawks. I'm running with the 12th man. I think Seattle's going to be able to pull this one out. Currently, San Francisco is favored by 2 points. I think Seattle's going to be able to pull this off, really upset the 49ers and really throw a monkey wrench in their whole 49ers plan.
How you feeling about that, Dog?
Sure.
He's a man of simple words.
Yes.
All right, Coach, who you got for your picks?
My lock, taking Pittsburgh against Baltimore. Pittsburgh favored by 2 points right now. Baltimore sitting
everybody.
Baltimore sitting everybody, and if I'm not mistaken, Rudolph is out for this game, so they're going with the Duck.
Sure, whoever's at quarterback, I don't care. Pittsburgh, in a must-win situation, mind you, has everything lined up in their favor right now to win this game. My leap, however, taking the Giants.
Okay.
4-point dogs. Give it to me. Giants playing well right now. Again, at home. Home field advantage. Home field cooking. Daniel Jones, 354 yards passing, 5 touchdowns, no interceptions, no fumbles. Saquon Barkley, 183 rushing yards. Give it to me. I love it. Giants.
Fair enough. Dog, who you got?
I will update on my column this week.
Oh, okay.
Ooh.
Coming back, Tales from the Dog.
Yeah.
We're getting a blog this week. That's what's up. OchoDuroParlayHour.com.
Oh.
Dog is coming with the heat this week. Yo, give a high five for that,
Oh,
Dog.
man. No, you wanna see my picks? Paid for my picks, baby.
Oh, Mr. Patreon. Hashtag Mr. Patreon right here. All right, so that being said, my picks, I was teetering back and forth with my leap because the Giants were out there and Seattle is out there. And every time I pick Seattle, they've won. So I'm going to go with Seattle yet again with the 2 points. Big game on the line.
Okay.
But I'm rooting for the Giants this weekend, too. I'm going to make that official, too.
Hey, I'm just saying, I think I hate Philly fans more than I hate Dallas fans right now, so...
I hate them both.
Yeah. What? For what?
Philly and Dallas, I hate them both.
They're not even in your division.
I don't care. I hate them both.
Oh, pfft.
Pat's just full of anger.
My God. That's on the flip side. That's like when Giants fans are like, oh, I hate New England. For what?
I mean, listen, who does Ken root against this weekend? New England's playing Miami.
I rule for a tie.
Yeah, I mean, you root for the arena to collapse.
No, actually, I will say this. If you have to force me to root for a team, I'll root for the Patriots over the Dolphins. I hate the Dolphins that much.
Sure, all right.
I have a long-standing hatred for the Dolphins.
Right.
So,
I mean, stop playing footsie with me down here, dog. I mean, for whatever you need, man. I appreciate that. Okay.
Dog is too amped up right now.
Yeah, he's all fired up. He's taking over my table over here. I got no leg room.
Hashtag Mr. Patreon right over there. And then for my lock, I'm going to go a little left to center. I'm taking the Colts. 3.5 over Jacksonville.
Oh, they're playing. They're still playing football?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay.
Well, yeah.
Jacksonville still playing football?
Allegedly.
Allegedly.
All right.
I
didn't even... Didn't even know the AFC South still was in existence right now.
Because this one has got some playoff implications. Obviously, there's got to be a lot of wins and losses that happen between them.
Listen, Oakland is still in it.
Yeah, Oakland. I mean, yeah,
they need a lot, but they're still in it.
Right. So the Colts.
So you're saying there's a chance.
The Colts have, if they win, there's like a couple different factors that can go into it. So I figured that game nobody else was going to take. So I was like, why not?
I looked at it and laughed, moved on.
Yeah, so I figured why not close out the season with that, because it's going to come down between Pat and Rich for Locks and Leaps. Andy is creeping in there too, so who knows what's going to happen in the end of Locks and Leaps. That being said, the music you heard on this episode is that of Fair City Fire. And a little fun fact, Brian Wolf is back in the 607, folks, and is playing at Ransom Steel Tavern this Friday night, as he corrected me when I saw him earlier today. So this Friday, he's got a big show, Ransom Steel Tavern. FairCityFire.com has more information on that. We'll have to post a link on our Facebook page as well to make sure you go see Brian, because he only comes in town a couple times a year. Definitely worth going checking out. He said he's playing at 9 o'clock. We should get there early and check out who else is playing on the show. Where do you find out about all this information? OchoDuroParlayHour.com/music, so you can find out about Fair City Fire. You can find out about Shout at the Robots, who were featured on the Killer Rabbit podcast this week. Awesome to hear them on there. So check out that episode when you're done listening to this one, because it is worth the time and worth the effort. So definitely support Killer Rabbit on that. And you can also find out about Walking Distance Floodlands, who are playing a big show this weekend as well, too. So much music going on in the 607, man. You got to get on and check it out. You can also check out on OchoDuroParlayHour.com Parlay Points, the complimentary blog section, where Dog has guaranteed he will have a blog up this week. It could just be Marshawn Woo, and you know what? It'll be worth the read, folks.
Yeah!
I'm just saying, he said he's going to come with some heat on that blog. Expect to check that out. So definitely, you can find that on OchoDuroParlayHour.com. You can find out the ODPH directory on there as well, with links to some of our friends like Off the Cuff Gaming, Excite Wrestling, Three Fat Nerds, Horizon 607, 8122 Productions, which I cannot stress enough. Their Patreon for Love is Scary is the best dollar you'll spend all month if you want to just get into the entry level. Derek with an open microphone is about as scary as Dog with an open microphone, except it's behind a paywall. So Derek can say whatever he wants, and he did scare the ever-living you-know-what out of Mike C. I can't repeat it on air. I want to. I don't want to get us kicked off of some providers. It's that good. It's that intense. It's that Patreon that you can only get from 8122 Productions. And obviously, you can find links to our friends of the shows on there. PodNation, NXTWAVE, hashtag 607 podcast. It's all on there. OchoDuroParlayHour.com. So from all of us here at the ODPH, we want to say happy holidays and Merry Christmas to everybody as well.
Happy Festivus.
Festivus as well. However you're celebrating, keep it safe, keep it happy, and hopefully it's a joyous time of year. So for the one and only Nostradogmus,
I'm all in here so I don't get fined.
He killed it this episode, folks.
Yeah, he did.
For your coach, my coach, the coach, Coach Duffy.
Good night, and have a great holiday.
The one and only Padawan J.
John Calipari, still coaching Kentucky.
And he's going to stay there. He's staying out of the garden. I'm your host, Ken M. Happy holidays, folks, and thank you as always for listening to the ODPH podcast, better known as the Ocho Duro Parlay Hour. See you next time.